Major League Baseball welcomes you to the following presentation of the Colorado Rockies.
Colorado Rockies baseball is presented by Major League Baseball. Another gorgeous afternoon in Scottsdale, temperature right around 80 degrees. Cactus League baseball continues this afternoon. The Rockies playing host to the Seattle Mariners. And welcome in, everybody, along with Mike Flowers from Seattle and Corey Sullivan, obviously, the Rockies. I'm Drew Goodman. We'll joint broadcast this afternoon. We're a week into spring training. Flo, I'll start with you. The Mariners, 88 wins a year ago. What are the expectations right now?
They have to get to the postseason. That's the expectation right now. 3 years ago, they won 90 games. They won 90 the year after that, got into the postseason. It was an exciting time, especially that series against Toronto. And then 88, they were one game back last year. It was disappointing last day of the season, I can tell you that. So for the players, the coaching staff, everybody in the front office, they're looking to get back to the postseason, and I think they're going to really lean on their pitching to do that.
How about a week in when you put your player hat back on?
Yeah, you've knocked the rust off, and at this point, you're trying to find some consistency, whether it's at bats every other day or on the pitching side, trying to really attack hitters and work and build that repertoire just to get ready for opening day. But this is that kind of week where it starts really starting to build the momentum towards the first day of the season.
All right, let's talk pitching. There'll be two guys performing today initially that will be in their respective rotations. It's the veteran Kyle Freeland for the Rockies, and it's a youngster out of Cal Poly, Brian Wu, for Seattle. And for Kyle Freeland, he's a guy that's been there, done that. He's had great success at different times in his career.
He has, and last year's one of those where I think he wants to really, really improve on it. He's a bulldog. We know that. He goes out there and competes every time, every 5 days. But last year, tale of two seasons. First 14 starts, sub-4 ERA. Next 12 starts, almost a 7 ERA. Boils down to sinker-slider command. Made too many mistakes in the middle of the plate. When you think about his slider, he only threw it 23% of the time, but he gave up 30% of his homers on that pitch. Tells you he was missing out over the heart of the plate. I look for him to kind of build that repertoire and get ready today.
Well, on paper for Seattle, clearly the strength of the club should be that rotation, and Brian Wu looks like he'll be number 5.
Yeah, well, Marco Gonzalez now is gone. Robbie Ray, they let him go also. So Wu came in towards the end of the season last year, mostly because of injuries to guys, but he really threw the ball well. And they're impressed with the type of stuff that he has. The few times that he struggled with his command. And that's something that they're going to watch closely this year. But we'll see how many innings they're going to let him go also. They have a really good bullpen, so they'll use those guys, especially early in the season. But Brian Wu today, I think you'll see a pretty good fastball for him to go along with the breaking ball and the changeup.
All right, it's always fun. Cactus League baseball. We're a few minutes in front of first pitch. When we come back, Mark Stout will join us, and he'll be chatting about Chris Bryant, who's now in year 3 with Colorado. Back in a few.
It's time for Sweet camera shot, huh? That is the wire cam that the gals and guys from Defy have hooked us up with today. We also have a rail cam that rolls on a track on top of the Rockies dugout. Hey, baseball fans, Mark Stout down here with the Rocks by the dugout here in Scottsdale at spring training. A big topic the last 2 seasons, and it's going to be a big topic again this year, is Chris Bryant. You've read a few things recently about Chris Bryant, and you know the numbers. The big numbers are the contract, 7 years, $182 million. The smaller numbers and not so good numbers, 122 games the last couple of seasons. You see his production, it's down. KB knows about it, I know you know about it, and Bud Black knows about it too, but he's optimistic for this season.
Pressure that the players put on themselves is real, right? I mean, there's an expectation level that, you know, they all have, and that can be compounded by, you know, contracts, new team, outside, you know, perceived expectation, all that stuff. And, you know, the injury bug is gone. This year, new year, there seems to be joy now, right? I mean, pure joy. I think he's past the expectation stuff. I think he's over the, you know, the pressure of that he maybe put on himself for the contract and coming to a new team. I think he just wants to play.
You look at KB's 162 game average. I know hardly any players play that many, but it's a good kind of factor you can look at. He'd hit 280 with 370 on base percentage, 30 homers, 100 runs, 90 ribbies. We'll see KB today hitting second and DHing for the Rocks. Guess who is on the hill? Yes, Denver's own. Kyle Freeland makes his Cactus League debut for this season, and Free's first pitch comes your way next against the M's.
It's
Colorado Rockies baseball is presented by Taco Bell with items like loaded nachos. The new Cravings value menu at Taco Bell is a very big deal. Glorious Friday afternoon. Welcome to the weekend, everybody. The Rockies and Seattle Mariners getting ready to go. And this is really cool. This happens every once in a while in baseball. Darryl Scott, the Rockies pitching coach on the right, and Ryan Scott, manager of one of the A-ball affiliates for Seattle, Everett, father, son. How cool is that?
That's pretty special. I think anytime you get a unique opportunity to say hi to dad on a baseball field, especially a Major League Baseball field, it's pretty cool.
Bo, good stuff.
Yeah, I think it's great. To me, I think it's a tremendous thing. And, you know, when I first heard about it today, I immediately thought about Ken Griffey Jr. getting a chance to play in the same game with his dad.
That was crazy. And we'll get to that a little bit later, playing next to each other. Let's take a look at the Mariners lineup that they brought down. Sam Haggerty's going to lead it off in center field. Jorge Polanco comes from Minnesota, one of the key acquisitions for the Mariners in the offseason. Veteran Ty France. Michael Chavis, the former National. Josh Rojas, he knows this neck of the woods very well. Played for Arizona, from Arizona. Ryan Bliss, young shortstop. Taylor Trammell, Sebi Zavallo, and Nick Solak, 1 through 9 for Seattle. And as we have already told you on a couple of occasions, Kyle Freeland will be on the mound for the Rockies. And I think folks know his arsenal very well at this point in time. And the number one trait with Kyle, and we'll say it ad nauseum, he's one of the great competitors in the sport.
He is. I think for free, he's really developed that repertoire into a pretty even mix. He can feature any pitch on any given start. But I think the things he needs to, we got a gate open in center, so we're going to have a little delay.
That.
No, well,
I mean, if it goes through the gate and up the hill, is it all you can get?
Yeah, and you can keep going.
Wow. Be like, remember Bo Jackson? He had that long touchdown run.
Yeah.
And he ran through the tunnel. He's gone.
Forrest Gump just took off, kept going.
Forrest Gump, one of the great kick returners in the history of college football.
By the way, these two, I bet they faced each other in high school. TJ obviously for Kyle Freeland, but Sam Haggerty went to Mullen High School.
Where you coach. How about that play by Brendan Rodgers? That's why he was a Gold Glover a couple of seasons ago. Get the uni dirty on the first pitch. That was a wonderful play.
It looked like it was going to be a base hit for Sam Haggerty, who can really run well, but he was able to throw him out by a step. Tremendous backhanded play.
I'll be honest, that gives flashbacks, though, to last year in spring training when Brendan got hurt.
It was the same type of dive. Fortunately, not the same result, because Brendan missed the majority of the season. That pitch is in there for a strike on Jorge Polanco. Mike Blauer's with us with shared broadcast again with our close friends with Seattle. We've done this every year for a number of years. I like this pickup for Seattle. 2 hops to short, and Carreras will throw out the veteran Polanco. Let's take a look at the Rockies defensively. We'll start in the outfield. 31-year-old Bradley Zimmer getting an opportunity in center field. Sam Hilliard, welcome back to Colorado. He was released by Baltimore a couple of days ago. Billy Schmidt took him very quickly off the waiver wire. Charlie Blackmon's going to run around right field. McMahon, Carreras, Rogers, Ellery's Montero in the infield, and Drew Romo's doing the catching. 2 gone. Here's Ty France.
Thing I like to see for Kyle already, I mean, fastball's 93.
And I'm glad you pointed that out, because last year throughout spring training and really throughout the year, he worked at 88 miles an hour. And I know we can make too much in this day and age of big velocities, but for you guys who are position players and hit for a living, you have to be really fine if you're 88, 91.
That's exactly right, especially in today's game, because everybody, it seems, throws 93 to 95, and you get to the point where you can slow the game down to that. It's even more so when you're talking about 88, 89. It gives you an opportunity to move the ball around a little bit more. Be patient at the plate, because you're not worried about somebody getting in on your hands, that's for sure.
And he got in on his hands at 93, a little floater. So a very nice first inning for Kyle Freeland. Just a handful of pitches. Got great defensive play by Brendan Rodgers. Charlie Blackmon will lead it off, then Chris Bryant and Ryan McMahon when we come back to Scottsdale.
Power of baseball.
No scores. We go to the bottom of the first inning. Let's take a look at the Rockies lineup. You saw the first three: Blackman, Bryant, McMahon. Brendan Rodgers for Buddy Black will hit cleanup. Then it's Eleris Montero, who homered yesterday. He's got a couple of big flies so far. And Bradley Zimmer, Sam Hilliard, Drew Romo, and Julio Carreras, who also homered yesterday in a 10-9 Rockies victory over in Mesa against the Cubs. First pitch from Brian Wu is in there for a strike at 95. This kid was a 6th-round pick in 2021 out of Cal Poly, which is a sneaky good program. And Corey Sullivan, you didn't play. You played at Wake Forest, but you played out west as a junior college player.
And we actually did have some games against them as well. Ironically, I'm pretty sure they were in the Denver airport yesterday when I flew out here.
Cal Poly?
Yeah, they were all wearing CPO jerseys.
Well, going down to get the baseball and hitting it a long way, just foul, is Charlie Blackman. What jumped out at you, Mike, when you first saw Brian Wu late last year?
Well, as a quick reminder, just to see the first pitch that they threw, he mentioned is 95 miles an hour, and it looks so easy, effortless to him. And yeah, he has a little run to his fastball. That was a changeup right there. That's what spring training is for. No 2 changeup. You don't want to leave it in the middle of the plate, but he got away with it. But it's a pretty nice delivery, and the organization is really excited about this young man. He had a little bit of time last year, a little bit of experience for him, but he'll be their 5th starter.
Yeah, I was reading up on him a little bit before today. He's got one of the lower, 4.9 feet is his release point. So that's a low release point, and he gets 70 inches of extension, which is way above average. So the ball's getting on you.
That's 97. I don't know where. There's some clubs. Seattle's one of them. I don't know where you find all these guys.
We keep asking ourselves that too.
Right? The Dodgers are obviously in our division. It's like they roll out of bed, and these guys are all upper 90s.
Well, everybody in the rotation is certainly in the middle 90s for sure.
This is lobbed to shallow left. This will drop for Charlie. And Charlie takes a wide turn and shuts it down. So a leadoff single for Blackman. And we check the leather for Seattle. Nick Solak in left, Sam Haggerty is in center, and Trammell is in right. The young shortstop Brian Blish, Josh Rojas next to him. Polanco at second, Ty France at first, and veteran backup catcher Sebi Zavala is working with Wu. Chris Bryant homered in his last start. He and Charlie, along with Ryan McMahon, did not partake in Mesa yesterday. Right on the Mesa-Tempe border. Like that Cubs facility, Sloan Park.
I've still never been there. I've only, obviously, when I played, it was Ho-Ho-Com. They were down the road.
This is a double play ball. 2 gone on the bouncer to second, handled by Polanco. Well, I was talking to some people there, and you have an open invitation. Craig Counsell said you have an open invitation to attend any game there. I wouldn't say I'm tight with him, but he happened to mention just off the cuff. He said, listen, I've never seen Sully here.
Okay.
But by all means, please extend him an invitation.
I'll make sure to show up tomorrow and tell him you sent me.
But Mike was saying that you're not welcome in Peoria.
Let's keep it straight, too.
Here's McMahon.
Max BP today, by the way.
Yeah.
Loud. I think it's dad strength. I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah, he hit some balls through. There was a little bit of a breeze this morning, and that sliced just foul. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it for a number of years. And honestly, the challenge for Mac, he's established that he's going to play Gold Glove caliber defense at third, and he's going to hit 20, 22, 24 homers in that neighborhood. And it's 240, 250. Can he take a step forward, and it's now 30 homers and maybe 265? Takes a good heater for a strike, 1 and 2. And that is lathered to center field. Slider that was down and in. Good swing from McMahon. Mack had a couple hits in his last outing.
And we'll take a look at the breaking ball. Solid line drive into center field. Middle in. It's a pretty good swing on it.
Short.
Brendan Rodgers stepping up. I will say this, just watching Brian Wu for the first time and kind of mirroring what you said, man, it is a clean, simple delivery, and the ball kind of explodes out of his hand, doesn't it?
It's been 95 this inning here in the first, and that's what typically you're going to see from him. At times the strike zone can get away from him, but that's typical of a young pitcher, and hopefully he can tighten things up a little bit as far as being able to throw his fastball for strikes more often. But he has terrific stuff overall.
.0 on Brendan Rodgers. And this is chopped to Polanco. That was, you saw that a mile away, Mike, couldn't you? He's going to get that top spin second hop, and he kind of walked into it. And it's kind of it's a difficult play because if you drop step there, he's not going to throw him out.
Exactly, and that's why you could see. I think he thought he was going to get a shorter hop, but he realized he couldn't get to it, and then he started to retreat, and that's when it ate him up right there, as you mentioned, the top spin. And you can see that happen quite a bit down here in Arizona. These infields, they get baked pretty quickly.
That's got to be a hit, though, right? Yeah, got a hit.
Well, in spring training, we're the official scorers, aren't we? That's a hit. Here's Montero. In the game we did last Friday, he hit a ball up on the concourse toward the Arizona complex, 449 feet. Yesterday, in his first at bat in Chicago, he hit a monstrosity of a home run to left.
Well, it's good, just good to see him continuing to build as they try and backpick Mack there. Good to see him build on the September run that he went on after making some swing adjustments and talking with Bam Bam and Clint Hurdle. He made some changes.
I'm a big fan of his, and he had a big September, and he's a guy that has a chance to, be what the Rockies really need. The Rockies have not, Mike, hit a lot of home runs, which probably shocks a lot of people. You're over in the American League. People just assume us. The Rockies, they always have a great offense. They play at Coors Field, and that has not been the case the last few years. They need some more mashers, and this is a young, intriguing guy that looks like he's starting to figure it out. 1-2. He's also out of options.
Yeah. That kind of power, though, he put him in the lineup to see what happens. The Mariners going the other way, actually. They ended up losing a couple of guys, almost 50 home runs out of their lineup from last year. Suarez is now gone. Teoscar also. But they want to cut down on the strikeouts. They struck out way too much last year. So I think that's why you see some of these changes. They want to put the ball in play, maybe manufacture a few more runs that way because they can run also. With the way the game is built, everybody wants to have the guys hit everything out of the ballpark. Sure. And swing and miss wasn't a problem until it became a problem for the Mariners.
I think the trend again in baseball, we're starting to see the reaction to the homer, then the strikeout, right? The three true outcomes, and we're getting back to the contact guys. It's like the late 70s, early 80s baseball.
1-2. And another foul ball. So Montero battles away. 2 on, 2 outs. Bottom of the first inning. 3 singles in the inning. Blackman with a single. He was erased on a double play ball off the bat of Chris Bryant. Then McMahon had a base hit to center and an infield hit for Brendan Rodgers a moment ago. Two and two. Regardless now of the result, again, take yourselves back to spring training, late February, early March. Welcome to March, by the way, everyone. And in a bat like this, you're seeing a lot of pitches. It's beneficial.
It really is. I think for Monty, really understanding I think we started talking about this last year, his damage zones versus where he expands too much. Those are where he really has to become more disciplined. And I think you're starting to see the at-bats of him understanding, hey, they're going to attack me here, and this is how they get me out. I need to stay away from that and look in here. And it may lead to some strikeouts looking, but that's okay. because it's going to lead to more damage.
3-2, 2 outs, and that is lined to left, and it is fair. One run will score. The trail runner Rogers is heading home. He'll score, and it's a stand-up double for Montero, and his wonderful early spring continues.
Yeah, I think you look at the 2 pitches prior to that, both secondary pitches, both down and out of the strike zone. Those are pitches not necessarily that he would have swung at, but we saw him swing at some of those. He gets himself that 2-seam sinking fastball at 95, middle of the plate, and he opens up those hips, and gets a 116-mile-per-hour hit off the bat.
Hey, Blow, I don't know how much you pay attention to all of the new metrics. There's so many. But when I hear what Corey just said, 116 off the bat,
yeah.
you were a powerful guy. There aren't many human beings, when they square it up, they can hit a baseball anywhere close to 116 miles an hour.
And I'm glad he said 116 because I wasn't sure what it was. I just know it got out to the left field fence in a hurry.
Right.
That ball was hit right on the nose. And pretty good run on that fastball that he was able to get to on the inner half of the plate.
So 2-0 Colorado. Off to a good start after scoring 10 yesterday. Bradley Zimmer. And he takes a heater upstairs. Ball 1. 31-year-old Zimmer. Years in Toronto. Last year, 2 different organizations, Dodgers being one, all down in AAA. And that'll be a base hit. Montero around third, and he'll score easily. The ball was overrun by Haggerty. He would not have had a play. And the Rockies have a 3-0 lead. And all of a sudden, they've thrown out 5 hits here in the first inning.
And Scott Service on his way out to the mound. You have a right-hander getting loose in the pen. He ends up jamming him a little bit with that fastball. It's right off the label, but he finds some outfield grass to pick up an RBI and that base hit.
Pitcher number 94, Jared Bayless.
So we'll get a pitching change as Brian Wu threw 23 pitches and got a couple of outs. Rockies up 3-0. We'll tell you about the change when we return to Scottsdale.
Power of baseball.
Fans, suit up this season at MLBShop.com. Check out the largest selection of official jerseys, caps, t-shirts, collectibles, and more. Gear up with the Colorado Rockies at MLBShop.com.
So Jared Bayless will come on to try to get the final out in the first, and Sam Hilliard, welcome back. Guy who was a Rocky and had some special moments in a Rockies uniform. Runner going, and the throw to second is not going to get Bradley Zimmer. Rockies have been super aggressive here in the opening week of the season. That is their 15th stolen base. That's more than any team in baseball, including the folks that train over in Florida in the Grapefruit League. But Hilliard back with the Rockies with Atlanta last year. He was in camp with Baltimore briefly this year, and he was placed on waivers. And he's always been intriguing because he's 6'5", he's 240 pounds, he's one of the fastest guys in baseball, and he has light tower power. It's just finding consistency, as virtually every baseball player attempts to do. That's a strike.
Yeah, I think for Sam, it's about the swing and miss, right? I think when we saw him the first time go around with the Rockies, K rate over 30%, walk rate under 5%, and both of those numbers need to change. He went to Atlanta and worked on that.
No swing, 2-2.
I just thought of something. Imagine an outfield: Nolan Jones, Brenton Doyle, Sam Hilliard.
Well,
good luck.
Right. Well, good luck finding empty grass. But we were chatting about this earlier. Those are like football players. It's like 3 tight ends. That's outside. So Hilliard draws a walk. That's 5 straight who've reached since the Chris Bryant double play ground ball. And Drew Romo, switch hitting young catching prospect, will come up. Speaking of guys who've gotten bigger, you and I were chatting with Drew before the game, and he was drafted, Mike, right out of high school, out of the Houston area. And he's probably, 175, 180 pounds when he got drafted. And we were saying, man, you've done some good work in the weight room. He's 220.
Is he really?
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
And he's carrying it well. And then we had to do the obligatory.
No,
Corey,
it wasn't obligatory. It was just low-hanging fruit.
Right. Well, that made it obligatory from my standpoint. Yeah. I said, Corey played at 170, and you corrected me. You said, no, it's more like 160.
That's correct. I'd come into spring around 190. Every year, though, I'd drop 30 pounds by end of spring training. It wouldn't matter. Couldn't keep it on.
For me, I would same thing. I'd come to spring training about 220, but typically during the season, I was 205 when I was
really
playing. Yeah.
Well, you don't want to see me at 220. That's outside. 2-2. Zimmer at second, Sam Hilliard at first. So great speed on base. 3-2 on Romo. Rule number 1 is an athlete always be prepared. I don't know if Bayless, well, he's sitting down in the bullpens thinking he was going to get a phone call here in the first inning. And that is ball 4. Now they're loaded up for Julio Carreras. So the Rockies have hit around here in the first.
It's one of those typical things during spring training. Get a young man out there, number 94 on his back, no name or anything like that. You got to have a lot of butterflies when you're out there struggling with the strike zone.
Yeah, my goodness, you got to have it.
It's pretty common.
Two strikes on Carreras. He had a 3-run home run yesterday that was just to the left of dead center field. It's pretty impressive. Hit a slider out. He's competing for that super utility position, perhaps, for the Rockies, which is something, in your guys' career, when you think back to that guy that filled that role for teams you were on, Mike, and for teams you were on, Corey, usually kind of a veteran guy. And the Rockies have a guy with a little bit of seasoning in Alan Trejo competing for that spot. This kid's never played in the big leagues, but you know, maybe that's his first opportunity.
No, and that's where I got my break. In fact, I went to the instructional league to catch, which I've never caught in my life. But I wanted to be able to play every position, and it got me a chance to get in the lineup. And a few years later, I'm playing every day.
Haggerty comes on and puts it away, and the elusive third out finally secured for Seattle. The Rockies scored 3 times the big blow, a 2-run double from Montero.
It's time for
Rockies up 3-0. The most important of congratulations to Ryan and Natalie McMahon. Look at this beautiful baby girl. Austin Brooke came into the world recently, and Mac's wearing a microphone for us. So, Mac, yeah, you blistered that ball to center field. We'll get to that. Congratulations, man.
Thank you, man.
Proud papa, huh?
She's gorgeous, isn't she?
She is lights out gorgeous.
Her and I take a lot of naps together after spring training days.
Oh, that's got to be nice. I was joking around about watching your BP, and you definitely got that dad pop now.
It's slowly but surely coming in.
Yeah.
I'm trying to take more singles this year.
Okay.
So I'm talking more about dad stuff now. What's been the coolest part of being a dad that you didn't foresee, perhaps?
Let me think. Hang on. Honestly, man, the coolest thing we've done so far, we brought our daughter home to our dog, and just seeing our dog freak out and get so excited was really cool. She did some spinners. I actually wasn't there for it, but my wife told me all about it and said it was pretty cool.
I'm going to guess the worst part's the sleep.
Yeah, it's few and far between. These babies, man, they're on a different schedule. Sleep all day, up all night.
Hey, that should fit with a Major League Baseball player. You play at night, you guys can sleep till noon.
Not in spring, not in spring.
Yeah, it doesn't work in spring, does it? 1-2 on Chavis.
Mac, I want to ask you about, you're one of the top 3 defenders I've ever either played with or watched. And with a guy like Freeland, who's a ground ball guy, I think fans always want to know about anticipating the ball. So how do you do your pre-pitch preparation when it comes to defense?
Try to get a feel. Obviously, I got the pitch comm, so I know what he's throwing. I like to lean with a guy like this. Freeland, he's pretty consistent with getting the ball in there. So if you can read swings, you can kind of have an idea of where the guy's going to hit it. And then we've got Warren Schaefer. He does a lot of homework on where to set up for us. And honestly, man, I trust everything he does, and we just kind of roll with that and roll with what we're seeing. Is that what you asked? I'm having trouble hearing you.
No, that was good. That was it.
I'm learning right now. I'm not the best multitasker. I think I'm better at one thing at a time.
Well, we're trying to give you some air when he throws the pitch.
All right, perfect.
Actually, he asked you a question about when you were quarterbacking modern day. So, but different answer, but it worked.
All I heard was quarterback in modern day, so I'm proud of whatever you said, Drew.
Swung on and miss. Catch the baseball. There you go.
That went free.
Hey, can you tell? I know it's first time Freak's on the mound in the spring. He's up, Mac, in the first inning. Last year he worked around 88, 89. He was sitting on 93 in the first inning from a corner infield spot. Could you tell that there was a little more velo?
Dude, it's jumping. I mean, you're seeing that swing right there, right? I mean, it's getting on these guys, man. You know, I think when Free had that, what was it, 2017 when he was a Cy Young finalist? I think he was right around 93-ish. So it'd be big if he holds this velo all year. I mean, he knows how to pitch no matter what, but just seeing how it's jumping out of his hand, that's always a good sign early.
Mac, we always talk about the velo in the game and hitting and how much harder it is, but as a defender, how great is it when you got a guy that lives in the strike zone and you can anticipate the ball and impact it on defense?
Yeah, you're always ready, man. Sometimes it's tough, you know, when guys are a little wild, staying ready, but with Free, man, you got a chance any pitch, so you're ready all the time.
1-1 to Josh Rojas.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. What was that? That had to be hard. Yeah, 93.
Yeah.
Dotted inside. As a fellow lefty, I know that's not fun.
What is your, defensively, what's your favorite play to make, right? Is it going down the line? Is it coming in bare hand?
Yeah, I think the slow roller. I think it's always fun. We practice it a lot. Stay foul.
Foul? I want to see you show it off.
I don't think I was going to get him on that one. He's a quick runner.
Hey, Mac, of the young guys in camp, I know it's early, but of the young guys that maybe you've heard about, but now are getting the first chance to see at BP, see on the field, give me some names that have jumped out at you.
It's hard to pick, man. Our young guys can do some stuff. They bring it every day, I'll tell you that. That's been really refreshing. The guy who just made the play right there has been lights out. I wouldn't say Monty's like a young prospect or anything, but he has really come to play this spring. It's been awesome to watch.
Yeah, boy, he's swinging it, isn't he?
Try to get Free a ball. It's got a little scuff on it.
Oh, nice.
He can move it around.
Oh, he's getting rid of it.
I think that was Jim Wolf. I think Jim called for that one. All right, this guy might bunt. Hang on. Let me look. Yeah, I got to get in there.
I'm rooting for it. I want to see him make the play.
Ryan Bliss, former second-round pick of the Diamondbacks. And he takes a strike, according to Jim Wolf, again, right at 93.
Yep. Painting it, too. Looks like he's staying all around the box. Corey, you better watch out. This is kind of fun, man. I might be coming for your job.
Hey, you're welcome to when your career ends in 10 years. As you know, you now have a daughter, which means you got a wedding to pay for, you got college to pay for. You got to keep working. You got to earn it.
That's right.
If I recall, when we found out that your wife Natalie was pregnant, you said, "Hey, got that tax write-off."
Oh, make a play. There we go. Yeah, Freeland's cooking.
Yeah. Hey, Mac, outstanding.
Thanks, buddy.
Outstanding stuff. You're the best, man. We appreciate it.
At you. I'll see you later.
All right, man. Kyle Freeland, that last pitch, 94 from Freeland. 3-0 Rockies. Bottom of the second inning, the Rockies hit around in the first inning against Brian Wu. Then Wu came out. Scott Service took him out after 2 outs. And this was a rule that was changed a couple of years ago for spring training. Brian is back out there. And I think it's a wonderful rule, Mike Blowers, because he's a young kid. You want to get him work. And that inning got, a little sticky. So pull him out, let him take a deep breath, and let him restart in the second.
Yeah, I think that pitching is so valuable for all the clubs. They got to take care of them, and that's why they put the rule in there. And I think it's a great rule. For me personally, through 23 pitches in that first inning, they want to stretch him out probably 2 innings today to get him going down that road. But you don't want him out there throwing 35 pitches in the first inning. We have a young arm like he is, and he's been sitting right there at 95. So you give him a little bit of break, figure some things out, and go back out there again, get his work in. It's a good rule.
And we were talking during the commercial break. There's a lot to like. First eyeballs on this young man. There's a ton of like about Brian Wu.
Yeah, Corey was talking about it earlier with an arm slot, but you can see the run that he has on his fastball, and it's an easy 95 that he's been featuring here this afternoon.
Zebi Zavala may have stolen one, hitting the top of the zone, and Charlie Blackmon is the first strikeout victim for Wu.
And we'll take a look at this fastball, see if he gets the top line. Yeah, a little bit above the strike zone.
We didn't see it there with the swing and miss, but some of the stuff I was reading on him, his sinker it was number 3 in Major League Baseball on whiff percentage, number 7 on whiff percentage in zone. And when you're talking about a swing and miss on a sinker, that's not as common as people think. It was 29% of the time he was getting swings and misses.
Yeah, and again, he was a 6th round pick. Chris Bryant hit a 2-hopper that was basically right over the bag after a Blackmon single, so it turned into a 4-3 double play in the first. So 2 outs, nobody on, and that's when the Rockies went single, double from Montero, another single, couple of walks, scored 3 runs in the first. 1-1 to Bryant. And that's bounced foul. Well, it goes without saying, though we're going to say it plenty today and into the start of the season. And Chris will handle this question, as he already has this March, frequently. And Mark Staff did a little piece on it in our open, that the key for Chris, never been a question about his talent. He's a former National League MVP. It's just he's had so many nagging injuries in his first 2 years in purple. Just trying to find a way to stay on the field the whole year.
Well, and that's the thing. I hope fans at home understand when you are in or out of the lineup, but also dealing with things and trying to play through things, it just doesn't make for a very consistent approach at the plate. And if he can really be healthy and play in 90-95% of the team's games, we'll see the good, consistent MVP caliber player he is.
So that's got to, 2-seam action, that's got to be a changeup.
That's a changeup at 90, yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty firm changeup.
Well, the other thing, too, when you talk about injuries, is sometimes you try to play through them, and you change your swing because you're trying to protect yourself at the same time, and then you get into some bad habits.
Yep.
Swung on a miss, so Wu beats Bryant with the heater, and back-to-back strikeouts in the second inning, and that'll bring up our buddy Ryan McMahon.
Again, you can see some run on that fastball, trying to jam him with it. He'll pick up another strikeout here in this inning.
Mack lined a slider to center field his first time up for a hit. And this ball is hit toward the end of the bat, but it got enough barrel, and that is about 20 feet up on, or maybe more, up on that berm. That's what he was doing in batting practice.
Dad strength.
I don't think he's mic'd up anymore, is he?
No, but I guarantee he has to do it the next game, and the next game, and the next game.
You all are some level of superstitious, so that's perfect.
He might walk down to Mark right now and get it.
Yeah, go get the microphone back on.
Same pitch, different result. First at bat, it was that slider down and in. This one, he gets a little bit more out in front and is able to snap it out of the yard.
Yeah, I thought initially he got it a little bit toward the end. Yeah. Well, he's so darn strong.
Yeah.
So McMahon makes it 4-0.
Is he going to give you guys any credit for that?
No.
No?
No. I mean, he should. I feel like it was all me. I'm going to take it to arbitration.
Pretty good swing.
Rogers takes the strike. 0-2 on Brendan.
It's funny, guys, here in the dugout. Sean Bouchard looks at me. He says, "Put that bike back on him.
Yep.
Keep it on, right?"
That's the way it goes.
And see that, Mike Blowers, that's a pitch when he's breaking down video later on, he's going to say, that's not a good 0-2 pitch.
No. And he's thrown a couple of them today. But that's what spring training is for. He's
Sure.
out there, going to get a couple of innings of work. But you're right. And they'll definitely talk to him about it also. But that was a mistake.
I think I shared this on the broadcast before. Far too late in my career did I have a conversation with Carlos Beltran, who told me about 0-2, and he goes, you know, we're talking just about how to approach it, and he goes, why don't you treat 0-2 like 2-0? You know, zone it up, because it's very infrequent that they actually throw you a strike, right? That's the third pitch in a row that he's seen near or at the strike zone in an 0-2 count. But if you approach it like that and you really start to zone in on certain pitches, it prevents the expansion of swinging at non-competitive pitches, right? That slider in the dirt.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, I mean, obviously, to be able to do that, you have to have some experience under your belt. You have to be able to do that, but also you have to understand who's on the mound.
Well, he never threw a pitch once it was 0-2. Yep. The whole sequence, he never threw a pitch out of the strike zone, and he finally freezes Brendan Rogers. So he struck out the side, but Ryan McMahon, the new dad, the new sportscaster, makes it 4-0.
The power of baseball goes beyond the field.
Top three in Scottsdale, and the Rockies have a 4-0 lead. First two innings, a couple of clean innings. Great outing from Kyle Freeland, his first of the year. Joins me down here in the dugout. Guys, we're talking about your velo, 93. I know you know it. You talked about it this offseason. What did you do? Did you work on some strengthening, some exercises or something to get that velocity back?
Yeah, and that was kind of my main focus this offseason, was getting that velocity back where I want to see it, in that low 90s range where I can control it. I'm not trying to rear back and just let it rip. So main focus was that going in the offseason, and change up throwing routine a little bit, did some things different, a lot of plyo work, a lot of band work, just strengthen that shoulder to be able to take on 30+ starts in the season.
So last year you had what? You had the shoulder, which was that fielding injury in San Fran before the break, and then the oblique. How about with the obliques? And is that a situation that you worry about?
No, not right now. I mean, I don't feel the entire offseason, getting in the offseason, lifting, everything like that, and then once I start throwing, have had no issues with it. Definitely, they can be very touchy, so it's something that we're going to have to make sure we're keeping an eye on making sure that I'm staying strong in that area. And that's where our strength coaches come in, and our trainers come into play with that. But overall, my health feels really good. Arm feels great.
Is last year in the past? Is that?
Well, it's a new year. It's
right.
2024.
I got you. How's Romo behind the plate?
He's good. This is the first time I've thrown to him live. Throw some bullpens to him over the past couple of years. He wants to learn, which is great. You don't want to see guys stagnant in their abilities and their skill set. He wants to learn. He wants to work with pitchers. He wants to get better. He wants to get to the big leagues and perform in the big leagues. And you know, today was a good step for me and him to learn one another on the field and start working with one another with pitch selection and tunneling and sequencing. And he did a great job back there.
Kyle, how's Montero developed this year? Do you see a different Monty here in spring?
Very much, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I know it was very big for him this offseason, getting comfortable with his feet on the infield. We saw him get comfortable at first base last year, just for him to continue taking steps in the right direction with being a much better infielder and taking care of the baseball and being a guy for us at first base or third base, you know, picking it, making good throws, and you know, leveling up his defense.
Hey, the velo aside, what else have you worked on? And I know you've mentioned Adam Wainwright, who you were with this time last year, and his one seam fastball. Did you throw that today or?
No, I didn't throw any one seams today. Today was focused on let's get through 2 innings of fastball and changeup only. Through one slider that was unintentional, but the main focus was 4-seam, 2-seam changeup today. One seam will get broken out here. Still tinkering with some things. Want to see some different stuff on TrackMan, the numbers with everything. But no, it's going to be a pitch hopefully that I can take into games and utilize.
I got one last question for you. You and Ashley, were you in or out on the T. Swift, Travis Kelce situation this football season?
We're in on it. I mean, that's awesome for Travis, awesome for Taylor. I mean, obviously she's a global name. He's one of the best tight ends in football and to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, it's awesome. You see two people at the top of their profession, meet each other, start dating, love each other, and they're both incredible at what they do.
Is Marquez the best golfer?
No, Marquez is not the best golfer.
He's sitting right there,
He can take it in.
Hey, you're not the best golfer. Kyle is. Mark. Do you golf with Wyndham Clark anymore?
I haven't.
Because he's down. He lives here.
Yeah,
right?
he lives here. I haven't golfed with him yet down here in Scottsdale. I mean, he's obviously the tour takes him all over the place. Definitely want to link up at some point and get out, play some golf. No, he's super busy. Obviously, we're super busy right now. But last time I competed against him was high school.
I know. It was awesome. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it. Good outing. All right, guys. There's Kyle Freeland.
Well, he was terrific. I mean, it was his maiden voyage this spring training. Was that? Or Jim Wolf's
he
like
called
bringing
another
back
one.
Sebi Zavala?
During the interview, there was one full pitch clock violation. I'm pretty sure there was a second, but John's trying to explain that the hitter is not looking up. The hitter is not, and a cue for a pitcher can be the hitter looking up, based because they have 8 seconds. That 8-second mark, they've got to be looking up. And if the hitter's not, a pitcher's not going to throw a pitch. And Wolfie's just on a tear right now.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Scott Service isn't too happy about it either.
No. I think he might have saw Drew on the field and thought his biceps were bigger. And so now he's a little fired up.
You know, Wolfie's always gotten after it. I think he's taking it to another level this year.
Yeah. No, I think everybody's a little bit confused. John was confused on the mound because I think he gave him ball 4, right? I don't even know because we were listening to Freeland. It was a 3-2 count, correct? Yeah.
So he's gone.
No.
Where is he? He's gone.
Zavala's back in the box, 3-2 count. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm completely confused.
Me too. Now we're doing it again.
He just walked again.
I'm glad because I didn't bring my white out today and I already put the block on the
Kevin Euclid was the Greek god of walks. What do we got on Zavala? It's unusual to walk twice in the same at bat. First and third, no one out.
Hopefully everybody's happy now.
Yeah.
Shouldn't everybody be happy in spring training game?
Yeah.
You know, Brian Wu got to pitch again.
Yeah.
How many times in your guys' career did you wish, like, you know what, I didn't like the first couple of at-bats. Let me go to the cage, bypass me in my third AB. Let me come up maybe in the 8th inning for my 4th AB.
I mean, did I want to do that? A lot.
Yeah, but if it was a lefty that was about 88 miles an hour, I'm going up there.
You're going
I'm
up
going to
there.
take my chances.
Nick Solak at the plate. John Curtis is on the mound. John's been around, 30-year-old. Big dude out of Dallas, Texas, 6'5", about 230 pounds. He's been in the big leagues with 6 different clubs. Minnesota, the Angels, Tampa, Miami, Milwaukee. Last year with the Mets.
Yeah, I believe after the 2020 season, he had Tommy John surgery. Missed a little bit of time for that, obviously. I think last year was his first year back. And usually that first year back, there's some control issues. Having had Tommy John myself, I can remember the shoulder and everything that goes along with it. And usually that second year after the surgery is a huge jump in velo.
Well, this is going to, well, maybe not. Mac, nope, safe. I was going to say it's going to be an infield hit, and it was. A run-scoring hit for Solak. So it's 4-1.
This is another one of those plays where I'm pretty sure if we look behind John Curtis, this would have been a tailor-made double play ball. I think Brendan Rodgers was probably going to be standing right there when it got there.
Well, Corey, you pitched in college at Wake Forest.
Oh, instincts are always going to take over.
Your instincts take over. But was there ever a time where you were able to pull your glove down or your hand? There's one, and nope. Montero actually got back to the bag, but Haggerty's safe. So it's 1st and 3rd, 1 out.
I'm trying to think of any of the situations, and no, your instincts when you pitch, you're going to try and do it. And now that we don't see the shift either, it's a little bit more difficult. I did see Monty not get that foot back on the bag. That was probably the issue. He got back there, but forgot the most important part. And Sam does absolutely fly.
He does fly,
yeah.
No question about it. And even listen to you talk about that. I marvel at a pitcher that can do that.
Yeah.
Because your instincts just automatically go to the ball, but when they pull the glove back, it's amazing. One, you have to know where your defense is at, right?
Yep.
Sure.
But 2, just to have that kind of reaction.
Jorge Polanco. You excited about this move Jerry Dipoto made?
Yes. Yeah. Second base has been a bit of an issue for him the last few years, and Jerry wanted to get some more guys in the lineup. Not as many strikeouts, so he's going to put the ball in play. But he'll be at second base every day.
He's been a good, solid player for a long time. Numbers last year with Minnesota. Go back to Curtis, and you were lamenting about Tommy John surgery. When he was at UT, University of Texas, he had Tommy John also, so he's had it twice. That's a swing.
I would have to believe that, especially if you're a pitcher, but you get Tommy John. It takes a little while to trust it, too, to where you could just, let it fly.
Well, there's no question. I'll never forget the first time I had to do a reverse pivot in left field as a lefty after having Tommy John, and the forethought of, oh, my God, this is going to hurt.
Yeah.
And it's just, it really is a mental hurdle that you have to get over. And eventually, I'd say about a month after full-on playing after the surgery, I was comfortable again. But the atrophy in the shoulder is the biggest problem. Is you feel you could do so much to stabilize the muscles around and prepare, but until you're actually making that throw, there's nothing like it.
When I had my ACL repair, it's one of the things that I didn't understand, right? I'm in Dodger Stadium, blow my knee out, and I go to see the doctors the next day, and they tell me what they're going to have to do. And instead of doing the surgery right away, they sent me to rehab before the surgery, just to strengthen up my quad.
Yep.
Because it was going to atrophy after I had the surgery, and it certainly did.
Drew's going through a little bit of quad strengthening right now.
Just a little bit. Folks are saying, what? Torn quad tendons. I don't advise that. This ball's lined to right for Polanco with Solak running. So he'll get to third, and it's an RBI single, with Haggerty running. RBI single to make it 4-2. So Polanco coming through.
And this is what they want to see more of. Get Polanco in the lineup. Fastball not too bad towards the outer half of the plate, but a solid line drive base hit for him, puts the ball in play.
That'll bring up Ty France.
Scott Service last year at the end of spring training talked about how this is a team that's just going to lean on its pitching, the rotation and the bullpen, and they certainly did that. I think though because there's changes in the lineup, I'm curious to see as the spring goes and these guys get more at bats under their belt as they start manufacturing more runs. But I think it's going to be the same message. They're going to lean on their pitching.
Well, you know, there are three big names that didn't make the trip from Peoria. Julio Rodriguez, obviously one of the for me, one of the 5 best players in baseball.
He can do everything.
He can do everything. And he just turned 23. So he's getting up there in years. J.P. Crawford, big fan of J.P. Crawford from afar.
Yep.
You
big
work
leader
with him
for the
every
team
day,
too. Yep.
right? And Cal Raleigh hit 30 bombs last year. And that's a base hit through the left side for France. It's now 4-3 as Haggerty scores and Polanco stops at second. So Seattle throwing out a counterpunch here in the third against John Curtis.
Yeah, it's good to see from Ty also. Had a bit of a down year last year, but puts a nice swing on this pitch right here. He spent the winter, stayed in Seattle, and went to drive line. Picked up about 3 or 4 miles an hour in his bat speed, which he felt was going to help him. And he looks good. He looks really good.
Michael Chavis coming up. So you're in Seattle. Drive line has been all the rage, especially for guys trying to pick up velocity, but they've expanded quite a bit. You're talking about a hitter trying to pick up.
Well, you mentioned JP. JP
velocity
last year also.
Is
last
that right?
2 years, yeah.
Okay. Have you ever visited Driveline and seen their operation?
I have not. I was going to go one time because my son, my middle son, left-handed pitcher, he wanted to go do it, but on my schedule because I was traveling, I wasn't allowed to go.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of these guys now, they're getting a lot of big leaguers in there.
A ton of them.
Yeah.
Michael Chavis, a strikeout victim against Kyle Freeland. Again, Kyle faced 6 hitters, got them all. That's foul off the end of the bat. Worked at 93. One more note on Freeland. 21 pitches, fellas, 20 strikes.
Wow. So he said he was working on his fastball. Fastball command was there today.
Evidently.
Yeah.
2 on for Chavis. Here's the 0-1. And now it's 0-2. Well, I'm sure you guys have had at bats like that. You hit one off the end of the bat, then a check swing, and you make contact, and you're 0-2, and that's when you want the Brian Wu rule.
Yeah, it's tough. I always felt like strikeouts are going to happen. I think the one that I hated was the check swing, little chopper back to the pitcher.
That's Corey's.
I've told you.
Corey's least favorite.
That
the worst.
It is defeating in a whole new world because you're out before you even move.
And you still have to run down the line.
And you still have to. The pop, I've told you, the foul pop up to the catcher, that's bad, but you don't have to run.
In fact, you go to some amateur games, and I think kids are, which they should. It's been ingrained in them to hustle no matter what. And you'll see a kid foul a ball back, and it's clearly, it's a foul ball. The catcher either is going to catch it or not. And the kid, ran like an open 60, ran a 6.4, up the line. This is lobbed to short. Carreras, did they get 2? No. That is the second out of the inning, and that'll bring up Josh Rojas.
Yeah, I think anytime you're out and the bat hasn't left your hand, it's no fun. The game is no fun. And I even extend that to when you line out and you haven't left the box.
Yeah.
It's no fun.
Outside ball 1. Well, I think back, and this guy, I loved watching this guy play, and a little biased because he was a New York guy, Sean Dunston. And Mike, you played against Sean.
Great arm.
Phenomenal arm.
Yep.
And Sean, no matter where he hit the baseball, as you recall, he ran harder than anybody this side of Pete Rose to first base.
Absolutely.
And I asked him once about it, and he got asked about it quite a bit. And, I mean, he would hit a comebacker, just like you described, a check swing comebacker. Drew Romo did not quite back pick Ty France. It was close.
That was a good slide by Ty. Slide to the back part of the bag with Monty crossing the bag.
This little head nod.
Because he was dead to rights, but he could see that that back part of that bag opened up and he got there.
But Dunston said on many occasions that in addition to playing the game right, and that was what he was about naturally, he said it was his way of getting frustration out. If he did, you know, check swing comebacker, he was like, I'm going to run as fast as I can. At least I'm getting, you know, the anger out.
I've been there. I didn't do it as often as he did, but I'll tell you what, there were times, yeah, you bet. Roll over on a ball and you're running down the line as fast as you can, knowing that you're already out.
Yeah.
But you're just taking some frustration.
I'll tell you what, Joe Mikulik, my first manager at A-Ball, he made us, because of the frustration, he had a rule that if you didn't make it to first base in 5 seconds, it was a $5 fine.
I'd have been fined a lot.
This is to right, and this is going to drop for Rojas. Not only will it tie up the game, this is going to give Seattle the lead as Ty France on the 3-2 pitch was moving. So he scores. It's a 2-run double for Rojas. And Seattle has taken a 5-4 lead with a 5 spot here in the third.
Yeah, another solid base hit down the line. Maybe out front of it just a little bit, but a clutch base hit, a couple of outs.
So that'll be all for John Curtis. And when we come back, Matt Carasetti will take over for the Rockies. So Seattle without a base runner in the first 2 against Freeland, with 5 here in the third.
The power of baseball goes beyond the field.
Fans, opening day at Coors Field is Friday, April 5th. The Rockies host the Tampa Bay Rays for a weekend series to kick off the season. To get your tickets for these games or any other during the summer, go to Rockies.com.
(5-4) Seattle. Matt Carasetti against Ryan Bliss, and that gets past Drew Romo. Going to second, from second to third is Josh Rojas. Well, it was an ugly first inning for Seattle. Rockies threw out 5 hits, scored 3 runs. Added a home run from Ryan McMahon in the second, but this has been a tough inning for Colorado on the other side. That'll be a pass ball, and this should get him out of the inning. Caracetti takes the feed from Eleris Montero. And when we come back with Seattle leading 5-4, we go to the bottom of the third inning. Eleris Montero at a 2-run double will lead things off for Colorado.
Power of baseball goes.
Mariners leading the Rockies 5-4. We've got the wire cam and rail cam going again in this spring training game, and they're brought to you by our friends at Defy. There's the wire cam. Man, I love that shot. And there is a shot of the wire cam. Eleris Montero against the lefty Jonathan Diaz, who's gotten to 11 ball games over the last couple of years with the Angels. And now trying to make the Seattle Mariners. That's a strike also. 0-2. Montero's first at bat, lengthy at bat, and then he blistered a line drive down the left field line that scored 2 runs. And it came off the bat at 116 miles an hour. His hardest hit ball in his big league career prior was 110 miles an hour. That's loud but foul.
Jump up 6 miles per hour. That's, I mean, I'm not really good at percentages, but I'm pretty sure that's just under 4% of an increase. That's not too shabby.
Not too bad. Two and two as Montero works his way back into the count. And that is got a little hook on it, so that's foul.
But I'll say this, the first 2 bats, I believe the first at bat was 0-2 as well. He laid off a couple pitches outside the zone, got himself that fastball that ran in. Here 0-2 again, and he's barreled 2 balls that were mistakes. Foul, unfortunately, but also laid off a couple of pitches. With experience comes controlling that heartbeat, right, Blowers?
Yeah, absolutely. And even that last foul ball was impressive to me. I mean, he's hitting the ball hard today. I mean, it's amazing, too, when you're a young man and trying to find your way in the big leagues. It takes a little bit of experience and some time to get to where you want to. Because on the other side of it, too, you're also working out, probably changing some of those things to help you. Obviously, he certainly has done his part this winter, how hard he's hitting the baseball.
He waits that pitch. Montero to be followed by Bradley Zimmer and Sam Hilliard here in the Rockies half of the third. And Montero retired by Rojas. Let's go downstairs, get to the Rockies dugout. Mark Stout again.
Hey, Drew, we are all excited. Todd Helton, of course, who is Going into the hall, he got the call January 23rd. There he is visiting Cooperstown right after. Plaques where his plaque is going to be. And he also made a point of checking out the Ichiro exhibit. And I like that because, you know, when you look ahead to this year, watch this pitch, 2025 first-time ballot guys, Ichiro's at the top of that list. I'm assuming, I mean, it's hard to do with that. He'll be a unanimous choice. The second one only to Mariano Rivera. Mike, you know a little bit more about Ichiro. We know he got his 3,000th hit with the Marlins at Coors Field back in 2016. That was exciting to see that in person.
Yeah, I mean, he's something special. You know, the thing that's amazing about him, Corey, is he still works out with the team.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in full uniform. He's running.
I think I saw him throw
bullpens.
BP.
Yeah, and he'll catch a bullpen for you, too, if you want him to. And you're talking about one of the best players ever.
Well, here are some of the notable names that will be on the ballot next year. CC Sabathia, King Felix, you know something about, jumps out at you. Former Rocky Troy Tulowitzki. Troy Tulowitzki, for me and for many others, there was no question, and Corey was your teammate, he had Hall of Fame talent. Unfortunately, injuries robbed him, I think, of the chance truly to have a full-length career that would have, again, I think in many people's estimations, put up enough numbers that would have warranted Cooperstown consideration. Zimmer gone, 2 outs, and that'll bring up Sam Hilliard against Jonathan Diaz.
Yeah, 2 thoughts on that topic. Number one, if everyone doesn't vote for Ichiro, they should lose their ballot. You should just lose it.
100%.
It's the same as Jeter. I mean, it's okay to just say, yes, they are Hall of Famers. And for Tulo, I mean, there's still a case to be made. And I looked at this when Todd got in. I wanted to see where Tulo was on the WAR leaderboard when it came to shortstops, and he's still right on the cusp of guys who have gotten in. So there can be a case to make that Troy, even in the career that he currently had, that he could get in. It's very, very borderline, but it could be. And there's no question, without the injuries, the hip injury in particular, right in the prime years, was a big one.
Now Diaz on 3 pitches strikes out Sam Hilliard. So 1-2-3 inning for Diaz. 5-4 Seattle. We go to the 4th.
It's time for
It is beautiful out. This is a contrast to last year. Good portion of March. Corey and Mike Blowers, do you remember? We were freezing down here last spring training.
We were. You know what? It wasn't that great a winter here. I stayed here all winter.
Did you?
Yeah. And I was getting a little concerned about mostly the rain than anything, because he said he's got to get their work in, but it's been beautiful since they've shown up.
I'm fingers crossed, knock on all wood. No, in Denver, it's been a very, very mild winter.
Which means we will have snow in April, we'll have snow in May, and the threat of snow June 9th. Matt Carasetti continues on. Taylor Trammell will lead things off. 5-4 Seattle. They got all 5 last inning against John Curtis, and the fastball at 95 on the outside edge is a strike. And Caracetti misses down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, I think it's 2-1. Again, a pitching violation.
Before the first pitch, evidently. Okay, 2-1.
Wolfie's on a warpath, man.
Well, it's spring training, as they say, for the umpires as well. And there's a ton. And we had many of these discussions on our broadcast. I'm sure, Mike, with you and Dave Sims, you had plenty of these last season as well, that there's a lot on that home plate umpire now. I mean, he's got to observe the clock. He's got to watch the hitter. He's got to watch the pitcher. It's not just, okay, I'm going to see if the 97-mile-an-hour two-seamer got a piece of the black.
Right,
I mean,
which is hard enough.
That's hard enough, right?
Exactly.
The best part is Caracetti didn't even know. Wolfie just had to tell him that there was a violation before the first pitch.
Yep. So Trammell with a walk.
I don't think that Taylor knew it was a walk also. He was standing around for a little bit wondering what was going on.
He had a stolen base last inning. There's a couple of guys in that Seattle lineup that can really go. Sam Haggerty up top.
I think that'll be a bigger part of their offense this year. I think they'll run more.
And the Rockies not only hope to, they need to run more. And they're doing it so far in spring training. In fact, the Rockies' 14 stolen bases lead all of baseball, for what it's worth right now, to a week of the spring. But I think it's that mindset that starts in March, right? I mean, you can't just say, all right, we're going to run more. Right side, Montero hoping this comes back to him, and it will not.
I know for Scott's service in spring training, he tells the guys at the beginning of spring, if you want to run, run. Show me what you can do. And he gets an idea of what they can do or can't do when they get in the season. But he wants, especially the younger guys, he wants them all to try it.
Yeah, there's no punishment for running in spring. And if you get thrown out 15 times, it's okay. Because they're trying to learn what you can and cannot do.
Well, you know what? To me, that gets by. It kind of mirrors what you see in the minor leagues, especially in A-ball. In low A and high A, there are a lot of clubs, Rockies are one, where you're going to find out up and down your lineup who potentially has that tool.
Right.
Or even if they don't have great foot speed, who has a feel for getting jumps, knowing what counts to run in, reading pitches, that sort of thing. This is in the air to right. Blackman's first opportunity, and Charlie had to reroute. And his throw to third not in time. So tagging up is Trammell. He gets to third, and it's a good at bat for Zavala as he moves Trammell to third with 1 out. The Rockies down a run here in the fourth. Will work on bringing the infield in with Nick Solak coming up. There's a club. The Rockies had a club in the Cal League a couple of years ago. I mean, I think they stole over 200 bases.
Well, I mean, we've talked about Zach Veen. I remember last year, it was like he was going, if he even reached first base, the bases were loaded, and he was trying to steal.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And I think when you look at the everyday lineup for the Rockies, we saw Nolan Jones, him get to his 20 stolen bases last year. Brenton Doyle, we know what he can do on the bases. Charlie, obviously, not what he once was when it comes to stolen bases, but we saw him make that adjustment after he came back from injury. I think Brendan Rodgers could probably steal 10 to 20 bases. Mack could steal 20 bases.
Well, Brendan Rodgers, he's dealt with so many injuries. Yeah. Brendan's never attempted a steal in a big league game.
Yeah.
Jones, Doyle, certainly. Tovar.
Yeah.
Situationally.
But again, when you run and you go to those meetings, whether you're pitching, catching, whatever, and the first thing out of a pitching coach's mouth is these guys are going to run. Everybody in there goes, okay, it heightens everything. You can't make mistakes. The defense gets aware of it.
2-1. Swung on a miss, so Caracetti gets a strikeout. That's a big one. That's out number 2.
Pretty sure that was that slower split finger, like genuine, legitimate split finger that he throws. It's more like a knuckleball. Yep, you can see the little tumble on it. Not a lot of those still in the big leagues that you see the actual pure split finger fastball. But executed at the perfect time, obviously, with the runner on third base. You need that punch out.
Sam Haggerty out front, 0-1.
I think pitchers slowly got away from it because of the arm troubles that they were having, so they didn't want to try it anymore. You're right, it's rare to see somebody throwing.
I mean, there's lots of guys that throw the moderate split finger, like the Roger Clemens one. It's 7-8 miles an hour off the fastball, but it's more of a tumbling pitch. And
right.
That's more like a knuckleball. That's 15 miles an hour off his fastball. And you saw Sam, the first pitch, way out in front.
One and two. 2 outs. Taylor Trammell at third. And Matt Caracetti will work out of it on a ground ball to Brendan Rodgers. Middle of 4, 5-4 Mariners.
Power of baseball goes beyond.
Big fan of that kid, having fun out on the berm as we go to the bottom of the fourth, 5-4 game with the Mariners in town. Mike Blowers is here with us. Mike, I looked at some of your numbers, and the first thing that jumped out to me was that you hit 7 grand slams in your career. And I was thinking, what's the percentage of slams for a player? I have a stat for you. This is #1 in MLB history. You ready?
Yeah.
Highest percentage of slams in career home runs. You have to at least have had 75 homers in the bigs. You're #1. 9% of your 78 homers were grand slams.
That's digging deep right there, but I appreciate it.
That's what Mark does. Did you know that?
And I know, I looked, you had back-to-back games where you had slams, and I know one of them came off of, because it's been a name we talk about, Pat Mahomes. You remember that one?
I do. In Minnesota. Yep. Sure.
So, good stuff.
Appreciate it.
He's got almost as many grand slams as I had homers. And Huey's even closer.
Well, you both have records then. You hit 2 triples in an inning, which that will never be broken.
No, but it got matched last year. Don't forget that.
Who matched it?
Mr. Tucker out of Houston. Kyle Tucker got 2.
Is that right?
Yeah. 2 triples in an inning last year. We're the only 2 to do it in the last 70 years, if I remember, though. But I'd take the 7 grand slams over the 2 triples. I'm just being honest.
You had as many grand slams, Mike, as Todd Helton. And he's the leader for the Rocks. Junior had 12 for the M's.
Shocker.
Right.
He's got a lot of records, doesn't he?
He has a few.
You know, so earlier, before the game, and we had a great shot of this, the lineup cards were exchanged, as they are before every game, including spring training games, naturally. Darryl Scott, who's the Rockies pitching coach, went out, and Ryan Scott, who's the manager of the A-ball team in Everett, Washington, in the Mariners organization. They exchanged cards, and Mike Blowers brought up the fact that it was just, I remember it, you know, when it's just mind-boggling. There's Junior, and he's next to his dad in a major league outfield. He's going, "Dad, I got it," you know.
Yeah.
And it was just wild. And didn't they homer back? Didn't they go back to back?
Yeah, they went back-to-back home runs. I believe it was in Anaheim.
Yeah, there's the pregame handshakes, and there's Ryan, and oh, there's Dad. That's awesome stuff. I remember, and Corey, this goes back, and I'm trying to remember if you were still playing or you were broadcasting at this point in time when Jim Tracy, who had, you know, his boys all played, Chad was playing, and Chad hit it may have given I think he was in the Dodgers organization. He hit a home run in spring training, and that's a good looking bunt. In fact, the way Carreras runs, he's safe and he's okay. So that'll be an infield hit. So Romo to second, and Julio Carreras, who put it in a marvelous spot, will have a bunt single. Pick up that story in a second. Watch this again.
The biggest key when you do a push bunt is to make sure it gets past the pitcher, because then it just becomes a foot race. And once that happens, I'd take Carreras all day long. I wish we would have cut that off right after he hit the bag. That never happened. He calls himself safe. I can assure you there will be a chalk outline of him out there tomorrow. His teammates will have a little fun with him.
Yeah. So 2 on for Charlie. Rockies down a run. So Chad Tracy hits a home run. And after the game, Jim Tracy admitted he had sunglasses on. He said, "I'm really glad I had sunglasses on," because he teared up. And I said, "Hey, it's your kid, man."
Yeah, how about it?
Right? Doesn't matter that he's playing in a spring training game, playing for the other team, but to see his son get called up to and play in a big league spring training game and then go yard with Dad in attendance. And Mike, you know this, your kids played, and we all, whether you're a broadcaster or certainly, when you're playing, but you miss a lot. And when you're a manager or a coach,
sure you do.
He probably didn't get to see a ton of. In the offseason, he was working with them all the time, but didn't get to see him play a ton. And then to see him go deep, that's in the center field. That was wide of the mark, and Rockies take advantage on that throwing error by Diaz. Romo to third, Carreras to second.
I'm very interested to see, because this will be the first time one of my former teammates' sons reaches the major league level. But when Jackson Holliday hits that first home run at a major league level, I can't wait to talk to Matt about it, because...
Did you see that matchup with Paul Skeens?
Yeah,
yesterday, Skeens was sitting 102, 101, 102, and Jackson grounded out the second against him. 2 guys in the 2 previous drafts who went 1-1.
Yep. And I just think having lived with Matt and Leslie when Jackson was born, and the kids after that, I know how I'm going to feel, but I can only imagine for Matt.
So Charlie is the first out of the inning, and that'll bring up Chris Bryant. Chris 0 for 2, grounded into a double play and struck out swinging. Always ask this in spring training. Mike, was there a certain number of at-bats that you wanted to have before you broke camp?
Not really. I think for me,
feel?
Yeah, more than anything. Once I started timing up the fastball, I felt pretty good about where I was at as far as going into the season. But you know, it's one of those things too, Drew. For me, I always had a slow start. I could have a great spring, poor spring. It didn't matter. I was going to get off to a slow start.
At some point, does that become like psychological, where you're a veteran big league guy, and you're like, well, I'm never any good in April.
You know, and the thing that's sad about it, to tell you the truth, is I knew it was because I was trying to do too much coming out of spring training. You know, I wanted to hit it 500 feet.
Sure.
And I knew that was the case year after year, but I never changed.
It definitely is psychological. I was a slow starter as well, and regardless of the spring I had, I don't know what it is. But you always feel like that May you're trying to dig yourself out of the hole you put yourself in.
Here's the 3-0 to Bryant. 3-1.
Yeah, you talk about that hole. You can put yourself in it over the course of 2 or 3 weeks. It takes you 2 or 3 months to get out of it.
This should tie up the baseball game. And in right center field, Trammell makes the catch. Drew Romo will jog down the line. Sac fly for Chris Bryant. 5-5, moving from second to third on the deep fly ball as well. Julio Carreras. So a productive at bat for Chris Bryant.
Like seeing the approach from Chris. He's a veteran. He knows the first 3 pitches were non-competitive, trying to get him to expand, get himself out. And he got the cookie 3-0 and got a pitch he could get the sac fly and tie up the ball game.
Ryan McMahon, a single and a homer to right. And that spins over the outside corner, so a 2-strike count now on McMahon. Ryan smoked a line drive single to center his first time up, and then got a slider down and in that he lifted over the right field wall. He was on that breaking ball. Here's the homer.
Slider again. That's supposed to be, that one was meant to be a way back door and missed down and in, which is the sweet spot for lefties. 411 feet for Mac.
Spoiled a breaking pitch and then a fastball. Last year, Ryan McMahon, Nolan Jones to the top 4 in home run distance. Shohei's already hit a home run in a Dodger uniform. 3rd at bat in his first spring training game when Oppo. Two outs. Julio Carreras at third. 1 and 2 on McMahon. Now 2 and 2. Missed at 91. Barely. 3 and 2. got him with a sweeper. That'll end the inning. The Rockies will leave a runner at third. They get even on the sac fly by Chris Bryant.
Power of baseball goes.
Colorado Rockies baseball is presented by Taco Bell with items like loaded nachos. The new Cravings value menu at Taco Bell is a very big deal. Drew Goodman, Corey Sullivan, Mike Blowers from the Mariners as we have a joint broadcast today with Seattle. We've been doing that for a number of years. Jordan Beck's going to take over in right field for Charlie Blackmon. And one of the workhorses for the Rockies a year ago out of UCLA, Jake Bird's out there now. Oh-1 on Jorge Polanco and 0-2 on Polanco. Polanco, a ground ball to short and a base hit to right to drive in a run. Part of that 5-run third inning. He would also later come around to score. Jam shot, and Carreras can't get there, so another hit for Polanco.
Yeah, staying in the middle of the field. It's going to jam him a little bit, but gets just enough of it. Pick up a base hit. He's got a couple of hits and scored around so far. That'll be it for him. Nice day.
Cole Young's a pinch runner. Mack could feed. Rogers on to first. That's a fancy double play around the horn.
Nice job by Mack. He's able to get to that. Does a little jump throw in essence to get the ball to Brendan Rodgers. That's what I wish we could have him mic'd up on those plays.
Well, I like his description as he was chasing that roller up the
go foul, go foul.
Go foul, go foul. That was good. Doing a little commentary as he's playing.
Reminds me of the movie The Replacements, and I know you've probably never seen it, Drew. It's Keanu Reeves playing a quarterback. It's all about a football team that is during a strike. They're all replacement players, and one of the quarterbacks comes in and he's blow the whistle, blow the whistle. He's running around the referee, doesn't want to get tackled.
Beat Chavis there at 97. That's July heat, man, right?
Yeah.
Here's the 1-2. Two balls, two strikes on Chavis. Hit 242 with a couple homers last year. Kyle Freeland started 2 perfect innings for Freeland. And he got him. Good inning for Bird. Gave up a bloop single to Polanco, got a double play ball, then strikes out Chavis. 5-5, middle of 5. We're in Scottsdale. Glad as always you're along.
Fans, on Saturday, April 6th, the first 15,000 through the gates will receive a Brenton Doyle Gold Glove t-shirt. Brought to you by Brakes Plus. Doyle rules.
5-5, we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. We'll get you some of the Mariners changes in a moment. Most notably, we'll tell you there's a new pitcher on the mound for Seattle, Joey Crable.
85, Jonathan Classe in center. 86, Pulsevich in left.
Crable will face 4, 5, and 6 for the Rockies. Brendan Rodgers, Eleris Montero, and Bradley Zimmer. One out, and it's a long throw for Rojas, and it'll be an infield hit for Rodgers. So second hit for Brendan, second infield hit, in fact.
Now right down the line, he had to give up some ground over at third to make the backhanded play and wasn't able to get much of anything onto the throw. One hopping it over there. That'll be an infield hit.
Yeah, and you got the old tagged out. Zach Bean coming in to pinch run for him now. I'm going to go ahead and blanket this statement that Zach will be on the run within 2 pitches.
That's a pretty good lead.
Mark it down.
This is one of the things he does.
Yeah.
I mean, that is an enormous lead, and ball went off the glove of the new first baseman, Hogan Windish. Bean was going there.
Yep. They called a balk.
So Bean goes to second.
Forced balk violation. Forced balk.
I guess that was the third time. There goes Zach.
And he's out. Perfect throw by Harry Ford, who's now behind the plate.
And on this one for Zach, I think he unfortunately didn't have he just took off flat-footed. There was no kind of rolling start. When you steal third base, you want to be moving, your feet moving, kind of building into it. But for him, he was at a dead standstill, and when you got to build up all that momentum and that shorter throw, it's tough.
Perfect throw by Ford from his knee.
Montero pops his foul out of play. Ball and 2 strikes on Montero. 2-run double in the first. Grounded out to third in his next at bat.
Ford, one of the Mariners' top prospects, and saw him do that back at home also, throwing a runner out at second base from his knee. A strong throwing arm. He can run well too.
See more and more, truly athletic catchers. 2-2. Say without question, Montero in the first 7-8 days of spring training, along with Michael Toglia, been the standouts offensively for the Rockies. But overall, the Rockies have swung the bat very well. In fact, they have an 803 OPS coming into the ball game today, which is among the top 3, again, for what it's worth right now, in the Cactus League. In fact, they were second in the Cactus League with that actually 804 OPS.
I think Monty wishes that one he got back.
Fastball down the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been impressive today. You were talking about it earlier, but in every one of his ABs, he's showing a lot of patience up there.
Yeah.
And he's ready to hit. It's not like he's just, watching, but he's going to make you throw it on the plate.
I think that's just been growth, because early on last year when he came up, there was no question, especially spinning away from him, he was expanding.
That's a good take. Another, to Mike Blauer's point, another at bat where he sees a wealth of pitches and he wins the AB. So with 2 outs, or let me correct that, with 1 out, he goes down to first, and that'll bring up Bradley Zimmer. Zimmer, a base hit to drive in a run of the first, also had a stolen base, struck out swinging in his next AB. And Montero's afternoon is done. Aaron Chunk is, no, it's actually Sterling Thompson. That's too big for Chunk, too tall for Aaron. Sterling Thompson, good looking prospect for the Rockies. And he takes off, and Ford is going to throw him out. He got the absolute, that wasn't a pitch out, but it might as well have been. Got a perfect pitch to throw on.
Yeah, strong throwing arm from Ford. Mentioned it earlier, but he had plenty of time. Yeah, you're right about that, Drew. Ball up out of the strike zone.
And Zimmer hits a high fly ball to deep left. It's got some carry to it, and it's going to get on out. Opposite field home run for Bradley Zimmer. And the Rockies back in front 6-5. Came off the bat at almost 106 miles an hour. You could tell he got it on the barrel. It was loud.
It was definitely loud. Let's see, pitches away and elevated, and he just drops the barrel on it. 95. All you got to do is touch it sometimes. He hammered it. And you can tell the left fielder out there trying to Polkovich, he got turned around, and that ball started carrying too. When they were hitting BP, we noticed it was definitely strong right field to left field, the wind blowing out to left. It's kind of calmed down now.
Sam Hilliard a walk and a strikeout in his first game back in Rockies purple. Again with Atlanta last year, part-time duty on a extremely talented Braves team. Baltimore briefly this spring training. And he was placed on waivers, and the Rockies claimed him. Three and one. And this ball is lathered to deep right center field. This is going to take one hop off the wall. And Sam Hilliard with those long, beautiful strides into second with a double. So welcome back, Sam. He squared that up.
Yeah, Sam got himself into a good count here. Got another fastball, middle, and just flat bat through the zone. Drives that out to right field.
That really jumped off of his bat, too. It had a lot of carry to it.
Yeah. He's one of those guys I think of, and Lance Berkman, right? That flat bat through the zone that it felt like they could hit a line drive that the second baseman could catch and the right fielder.
Yeah, he's some kind of strong. And Drew Romo hits this ball to right center field and deep, and it is caught out there by Clase. What a wonderful grab that was. Jonathan Clase taking extra bases from Romo and keeping a run off the board.
Rocks are up in the game 6-5. Jake Bird joins me in the dugout. Adam, so yeah, see, we're sitting here watching balls come down from infield. Hey, good outing. What you throw? How you feeling today?
I threw a little bit of everything. I feel really good. Just trying to fill up the zone, be competitive, and it's just fun being out here again.
Yeah. 5-4-3. I mean, you know about the infield defense.
Yeah. I mean, McMahon's great. Everybody in the infield's great. I like to strike guys out, but ground ball is the next best thing.
Right. Strikeouts are a good thing. 70 games last year. When you think back to last year and that workload, what do you think this year?
I'm just trying to take every day as it comes, just like I did last year. It's fun getting in that many games. Yeah. It's sometimes mentally tough, but I think I grew a lot from it, and I'm excited for the season.
Well, it was great to see you get a clean inning out there and throw the ball. So thanks, Jake.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Jake. Let's go back up.
All right, Mark, thanks very much. Yeah, good inning for Jake Bird. And this is a young man that is very, very intriguing. At a LSU, Jaden Hill, drafted in the 2nd round. He dealt with a number of injuries in Baton Rouge. And last year did not have a great year in Spokane as a starter. Went to the fall league. They converted him to a reliever. He's got a big arm. He touches 100 miles an hour. And he was great in the fall league. And so far in 2 outings this year, he's been terrific. And he's, working at 98.
Yeah, and I think back to last year. Okay, LSU wins the national championship. He's on that team. He probably threw more innings than he had ever thrown in his career. So I don't even care what his ERA was when he got to professional baseball. It's more about just getting in that routine of playing every day, getting in that role, and converting to a reliever when he's touching 100 as a starter is kind of frightening, because you usually see the velo tick up a little bit more if you're going to stay in that reliever role. But he's got electric stuff.
Yeah, he's got a wipeout slider. He's facing Josh Rojas. And there's 100. As long as you can be somewhere around the strike zone, you'd think, just like speed, 100 doesn't have too many bad days, does it, Mike?
No, it doesn't. It plays anywhere, right? Doesn't matter what ballpark you're in either.
Yeah, that's tough to cover. 100, and then that 82-mile-an-hour slider that had bite to it.
Well, now that he's going to be pitching out of the pen, he's going to have to command the strike zone. He's been doing that. Rojas putting up a pretty good battle right here, but he's throwing strikes.
Yeah, and Rojas is a big league hitter, so he made a mid-swing adjustment right there and slowed that bat down to do everything he could to foul it off.
And he can't quite catch up to that fastball.
And Jaden Hill's one of those kids also, when he's coming out of LSU, he underwent, as you did, he underwent Tommy John surgery. And so that's why he slipped. At one point in time, he was thought to be a high first-round pick, first handful of selections. 6'4", 245 pounds. Changeup's inside. Rojas gets this one deep right center and gone. Right over the 390 mark to tie it up at 6. Well, Josh Rojas, we saw him quite a bit the last few years in Arizona. He has the ability to hit.
I'm going to say that was a case of speeding up the bat, though.
I think you're right. It's going to be a changeup after seeing 100 miles an hour, and he left it middle in. He wanted to go to the outside corner, missed his spot. He paid for it. But a nice at bat for Rojas, too. He really had to battle before he got a pitch that he could finally handle. And we were talking about him being behind the fastball, so helped him out a little bit with that changeup.
Yep.
It's first home run of the spring for Rojas. To short, Alan Trejo's there, and the former San Diego State Aztec infielder and pitcher throws him out. Here are the changes for the Rockies. We'll start in left field. Sean Bouchard's now in left field. Jordan Beck, who was in right for an inning, is now in center, and Zach Veen is in right. Coco Montes at third. Trejo, we just mentioned, at short. Sterling Thompson, who pinch ran, is at second. Tolia is at first. Hunter Goodman behind the plate. Ryan Bliss swinging the bat right now for Seattle. A run in, one out. Ryan Bliss out of Auburn, another SEC player. Actually, let me correct this. It's
Taylor Trammell.
It's Taylor Trammell.
He's the only one who survived line change 1.
Yeah. Bliss is the one who just grounded out. I'm a little behind on my scorebook.
Well, you got 19 changes, and I say it every year. I'm amazed by your resilience and persistence.
You just throw your hands up.
Yeah.
Say the heck with it, right?
I mean, when you get 9 guys changing, and it might happen again in 2 innings, it's just really hard to do.
I really hope it doesn't happen again in 2 innings. That's ball 4. So Trammell to first.
Taylor having a good day. He's been on base all 3 times. A couple of walks and a base hit.
That's a good day. Harry Ford's first AB. Jaden Hill grew up in Arkansas. He was drafted by the Cardinals late in the 38th round out of high school. Then went on to LSU. I always like some of the numbers you guys put up in high school. So Jaden Hill, who looks like an NFL tight end, right? In high school, he went 7-0 with an 0.51 ERA his senior year at Ashdown, Arkansas High School. He batted .540 with 11 big flies. And he was runner-up to team MVP. No.
I'm a little disappointed that they made him a pitcher only, a PO.
Right.
Let the kid hit in college.
I don't think I faced anybody in high school that was throwing 98 miles an hour either.
I definitely did not either.
0-2. And that is what Harry Ford's saying right now. 2 outs.
That looked like it had real late life, too, on that replay. That last 2 feet, that ball working back towards the strike zone.
Caden Polkovich at the plate. You look at Hill, and if he can throw strikes, he can get to the big leagues pretty quickly.
I would think so. You mentioned his breaking ball going on with 98. I mean, we got the Mariners bullpen, and they have a number of guys that can rush it up there. But the one demand that Scott Service will have is you better throw strikes coming out of the pen.
Have to.
Have to.
Two gone. Trammell at first. Hill knows he's not allowed to catch the baseball. You know that Major League rule. So Tolia has to run about 100 feet to make the grab to end the inning. Josh Rojas a home run to tie it. We're in the 6th, 6-6.
That's where we are, and the Rockies and the Mariners are tied at 6 as we go bottom 6. We have a familiar face here in the dugout. That would be one Sam Hilliard. I looked at the 16 and I was like, looked a little bit different, but good to have you back. Tell us about the conversation. I saw the email come transaction. Sam Hilliard's back from the Rocks. How did that come about?
Yeah, I was in Sarasota. I was actually on the golf course with a friend of the Rockies, Tyler Nevin. I was in the second hole, and I was just off that day. I wasn't playing, so I had a little free time. Got a call from the Orioles, and they said, hey, we put you on waivers, and your old pals in Colorado claimed you. And, I was real surprised. And at first, it didn't feel real. I was like, no way. I didn't know how to feel about it. But eventually it settled in, and I was really excited. I feel like I'm home. And I missed everybody, and all my good buddies are here. I know the staff, and I received a pretty cool welcome yesterday. Everybody seemed happy to see me, so that was a good feeling.
Yeah, Buddy said something to that effect earlier today, where it was just a comfort level, and you felt it right away.
100%. I felt it right away. Like I said, it feels like I'm home. I was stretching yesterday in the agility field, looking around, and just started giggling because it felt like I never left. I was only gone for one season, really, last year, and back like I never left.
What's the role that you're going to play, hopefully?
That's a good question. Yeah. I'll do whatever Buddy asked me to do. I'm confident in myself that I can really help this team, if I'm given the opportunity to play every day. But if not, I'm kind of used to being the fourth outfield guy. I know how to play that role, but I do believe I have a lot in the tank, a lot to offer this team on both sides of the baseball. I made a couple adjustments this offseason, so hopefully I can clean up some stuff I've been struggling with in my career and help this team.
Give us one thing that you worked on.
Just my shape, my swing. I've been a little flat. Being flat's not the worst thing in the world, but for me, I think it contributes to a little bit of swing and miss. I think my swing decision stuff has always been pretty good, but if I can clean that up, I think then the sky's the limit for me.
Did we see that on that ball you hit to right?
Sure. Yeah, that was good.
It was squared up.
Yeah, that felt good.
Sam, it's awesome to have you back. Thanks for taking the time.
No problem. Thanks.
Sam Hilliard, guys.
Yeah, it's good to hear from Sam, obviously. I think when you talk about Sam, he battled, as we talked, times struggling to kind of have the swing and miss. For him to talk about that bat path, Mike, I think it's important for people to understand you want a flat bat because you stay through the zone and you stay on the path of the ball well, but you don't want to be so flat that you can't adapt to pitches like off-speed pitches. You need that barrel to kind of get a little bit below the hands so that you can have a little bit of an altered path.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And for somebody that look, he's played in the big leagues, he's been around for a while now. That's not an easy adjustment to make.
No.
So good for him for trying to get that worked out, and hopefully it works out for him here in Colorado. But yeah, you're absolutely right as far as the bat path.
Yeah, good to see Sam back. It's like, some guys, you're hoping for an opportunity. There's never been a question about his talent and his toolbox that he brings to the field every day. He's a rare breed. I mean, a big, strong man that can really run. And obviously he has tremendous power. 2 balls, 2 strikes on another guy that's young and powerful and can run, Mr. Beck, and he gets under this one just a notch.
It's got that spin, though.
Wow,
yeah.
It's off the wall. Polkovich lost it in the sun, but that thing had carry to it.
It's got that backspin. And anytime you can get pure backspin like that, it's going to carry, especially here. And I think you talk about curveball top of the strike zone, you could see spun that ball well. And at this point as an outfielder, when you're backpedaling like that, that's always a problem. And out of the box, you can tell Beck was running. I like seeing that from a younger player. He's not taking the out for granted. Ends up on third base.
Here's Adel Amador, who's the Rockies' top prospect and one of the top prospects in baseball. One of the things that stands out about Amador is the hit tool. Throughout his minor league career now, he's still a youngster, more walks and strikeouts, and he's always hit for average, and he's got some pop.
It's good to see. Tells you he's got a great contact rate. Not a high swing and miss guy.
This is playable for a guy who was a Rocky a year ago, Cole Tucker. So that'll be a disappointing at bat for Amador, and then he couldn't get the run across. And that'll bring up a guy who's been hot in the opening week of spring training, Michael Toglia. Michael struggled a lot from the right side last year, but he's done a lot of this. He had a couple hits in the last couple of games from the right side, and he's got a 2-out RBI double to give the Rockies a 7-6 lead. But as I was saying earlier, early stages of spring training, the two names, or at least two of the names that jump out at you, Eleris Montero and Michael Toglia.
That was a mislocation fastball, wanted up and away, pulled down and into that sweet spot of lefties, and Toglia did a good job clearing the hips, dropping the bat head there for the double and the RBI.
(7-6) Colorado on that 2-out double from Toglia. Here's Zach Veen's first AB. Came in as a pinch runner and was caught stealing. In the air to center field, fairly deep but playable out there for Clase. That'll end the inning. A fly ball triple off the wall by Jordan Beck, and then the 2-out double by Toglia puts the Rockies in front 7-6.
Power of baseball goes.
Rockies retake the lead 7-6 here in the top of the 7th inning, and with March 1st starting off the month for Women's History Month, why don't we give a shout out to our former teammate who actually is setting history, becoming the first primary play-by-play announcer, Jenny Kavanaugh. It's pretty cool.
It's really cool, and huge congratulations to Jenny. She'll be doing close to 100 games for the A's this year. And did you see her on the Today Show?
I did.
A couple of weeks ago. She was terrific.
Well, she was terrific, but my favorite part of all of it was the picture of her on TRL back 20 years ago, and then Carson Daly coming in and catching her off guard. I think that was a pretty cool moment for little Jenny.
That's right. Evan Justice on the hill right now for the Rockies. Jonathan Clase made a great catch a couple innings ago in center field. He's got his first at bat. Saw Evan up in the big leagues late last year. Went to NC State, native of Richmond, Virginia. That's a beauty. Painted the outside corner, and Clase's gone. That'll bring up Cole Young.
94-mile-an-hour fastball, just right on the outside black. Painted at the knees as well. .847 OPS last year in the minor leagues for Cole Young. That'll get your attention, get you noticed, get you a big league spring invite.
Yeah. Sterling Thompson.
In your first big league camp, did you know that it was coming your way, or were you surprised that you made the team?
Well, so interesting enough, after my AA season, I got told I was getting put on the 40-man. So I'm coming into spring training on the 40-man. Have an opportunity to make the team, and that's where the Tommy John happened.
Oh, really?
But yeah, first big league camp and first opportunity to make the team. So I made it my life's mission to play as fast as humanly possible. And ironically, the doctor who did the surgery is in the building, and we had this conversation earlier, Dr. Thomas Noonan at the Stedman Hawkins Clinic, about how up until Bryce Harper, I was the fastest return to play from Tommy John surgery.
Is that right?
Yeah, and Bryce beat me. I played in under 6 months.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. Because again, when you have an opportunity to make a big league club, as you know, and you get hurt, you miss a season, you think I may never get that chance again.
That's exactly right. We were talking about it earlier with some of the other guys too. It's about getting opportunities and taking advantage of them when they come your way.
Yep.
Evan Justice took advantage of his opportunity in the 7th. 1-2-3, a couple of strikeouts, including a swinging strikeout of Hogan Windish. 7-6 Rockies as we stretch at Salt River Field.
Power of baseball goes beyond the
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. As we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, the Rockies leading 7-6.
I'm sorry, are you Mr. Costas on first name basis?
Well, On the rare occasion I've seen him, I refer to him as Bob. That would be his name.
It is.
Yeah. I think at 60 years of age, I can call somebody by their first name, right?
You can.
Yeah. That's down the right field line. Extra bases for Sterling Thompson, the Florida Gator. Thompson picking up Warren Schaefer, and he'll shut it down as he rounds second. Well, Sterling Thompson is another, and there's a bunch of them, young prospect in the Rockies organization that's really intriguing. Little leg lift, and this guy keeps that bat in the zone a long time, doesn't he?
He did. That was quick, because that's a left-on-left situation where you really got to fight to keep that right shoulder closed as a left-handed hitter. He did a good job just keeping it closed and dropping that head in there and picking up Warren Schaefer coming around second, shutting it down.
Hunter Goodman's first at bat. Corey make a play.
Oh,
that was close.
Yeah. I could tell you who wasn't going to make a play.
No.
More me. I was, well,
I don't know how your eyesight is these days, but I've been with Drew enough to know that he cannot. So I always make sure to keep him safe.
I can't move. I got a leg brace.
Nah, come on. Big players play big. You got to make the play.
You were the outfielder. I deferred to you. You're the center
tried.
fielder. Hunter Goodman gone against Holden Laws. So Thompson remains at second. And that'll bring up Alan Trejo.
Had a foul ball come up into the booth probably about 7 years ago. And that's when I realized I was not putting my hand out like that again.
Hurts, right?
Yeah.
That's why you wear gloves.
We haven't had the chance. I'll say that.
People ask all the time, hey, how often do you guys get a baseball? At Coors Field, just the way it works, rarely, like literally once every half a dozen years, does a baseball come in the booth. That's it.
Yeah, so,
Really?
So that baseball was virtually right here, but about 3 feet out.
Yeah.
I'd have fallen out, unfortunately.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Why do you say unfortunately? I mean,
you don't want that.
I know, we don't. That's into center field for a base hit. Sterling Thompson around third. He's coming home. And Alan Trejo has an RBI single. 8-6 Colorado.
I always say this, when you get an opportunity late in games, especially games that have taken a little bit of time in spring training, it's important to never give up an at-bat or a pitch. And for Trejo coming in, who's fighting for that utility bench spot as well, doing a good job getting a first pitch elevated that he can put in play.
Yeah, fastball's like middle in. Nice inside-out swing from him, too. Yep. Solid line drive.
Coco Montez with his first at bat.
Talk about that utility role in '93. That's what I was going for to make the team. And the one thing that I can remember about it is because I've been to the big leagues and been sent down a couple different times, but I've just told myself in late games in the spring training, I'm ready to hit from the time I leave the on deck circle. I want to do some damage further to your point so I can make a ball club. Yep. And eventually it worked out for me. The other thing that made me think about it too was the ball that was misplayed out in left field. I hated it when I was in the outfield down here in spring training. Can't see anything.
No, it's almost like they didn't think through the design sometimes. And I'll say this, the outfielders always get the short end of the stick.
Without a doubt.
And it usually starts with the right fielder and ends with the left fielder. And most of the game, the center fielder's wearing it.
Snap throw to first. Trejo's back.
Nice pick.
And this is every year for you guys way up in the Pacific Northwest, but I was looking at miles flown this year by every club. And Seattle's always, if they're not one, they're two.
Right.
This ball's loud to left field for a base hit. So Coco Montez And Trejo is trying to get to third, and he will. A sneak attack going first to third with the ball right in front of him. Well, it goes to the point Mike Flowers was trying to make a moment ago. That you're going to do everything you can to impress the manager, the general manager, the coaching staff.
And in today's game, they remember everything. They have it all down. And, you know, that you're allowed to make mistakes as part of the game, but you better not make more than a couple of them, of the same mistake anyway.
So the only teams that are eclipsing the Mariners, I believe, off the top of my head this year in terms of miles flown, will be the Padres and Dodgers. But there's a reason.
They're going to London.
They're going to Korea.
Yeah, Korea, that's right.
They're going to South Korea.
Those games are 19 days away, I think. I think that's March 20th.
It's great for baseball. It really is. It's great for the sport. Bouchard throws this out to left field. Tagging at third is Trejo. And the throw will go to the middle of the diamond. Trejo scores. Sac fly for Bouchard. Second run in the inning. And the Rockies are now +3 on the scoreboard.
Fans, our multi-game suite packages offer the best value while providing the perfect setting for entertaining your VIP clients. You select your game, location, and number of tickets as you go. Opening day and summer concert options available. Call 303 Rockies for more information.
Jordan Beck, a fly ball triple. I say fly ball triple. He hit a towering fly ball to deep left, and Caden Polkovich initially thought he was underneath it. Then he kept drifting back, and couldn't make the catch at the wall. Off speed, out front, 0-2. (9-6) Rockies. One and two. Holden Laws working here in the 7th for Seattle. Two and two. So, Mike, on all those long flights you've been on,
yeah,
first as a player and now as a longtime broadcaster, books, music, films, are you like Corey, where you've seen every film 6 times that has come out in the last 50 years?
Yes.
See?
And yes to all of those things.
All of the above. Okay, I finished that book and I've watched a movie, and we still have another 2.5 hours till we get to Tampa.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, your shortest flight is Oakland, right?
Yes.
And that's a couple hours.
That's a couple hours.
Down the line, just foul.
Yeah, going up and down the West Coast isn't too bad, but a lot of travel. You know, for these guys, and I did at one point, I don't remember, probably didn't really care because I was just happy to be in the big leagues, but you have some of those flights and then quick turnaround the next day, and how your body feels, it's not the same, you know, especially as you start to get a little bit older.
Big advantage, you know, if you're playing in the Central, in either league,
oh yeah,
it's a big advantage.
I think so.
You played back east.
Yeah.
That wasn't bad.
No, and I played in Houston as well.
Right.
And then I played with Colorado. The travel, it's fans always say, well, you're flying, you know, charter and you're staying in 5-star hotels. Those things are all true.
Yeah.
However, when you're flying from San Diego to Houston and then you got a game the next night, your body has to adjust to that. Or when you're really flying back to Colorado, we've talked about it, and there's less oxygen, your body does not heal as fast. It is incredibly tough. The sleep habits are the hardest part. Having to adapt to when you can fall asleep and needing to fall asleep is so hard.
3-2. And Beck goes down against Laws. That'll end the inning. But the Rockies score a couple of times on 3 hits and a sac fly. 9-6. They lead as we go to the 8th inning at Salt River Fields at Talking Stick.
It's time for
Nine runs, 15 hits for the Rockies, 6-7 and 1 for Seattle. The Mariners coming up here in the top of the 8th inning. And new pitcher for the Rockies is Kyle Wilcox. Originally out of Bryant University, speaking of the Northeast. And a native of Danbury, Connecticut, not far from where I grew up. Matt Scheffler's at the plate. Catcher for the Mariners, and he's got himself a knock.
And he's going to get a breaking ball, ends up in the middle of the plate, like middle in, really. Able to fight it off, pick a base hit.
And just checking out Wilcox's stats, obviously he's a little bit older. He's got over 12 punch-outs per 9 his entire career. The issue on the other side is
he's got some walks.
He's got some walks. Averaging 6 walks per 9.
Cole Tucker, first at bat for Cole. Cole got 8 at bats last year for the Rockies, and he hit a robust 500. 4 for 8.
It's on the back of the baseball card.
Right.
I hit 500 for an entire season.
And then you walk out of the room before
That's
they
it.
can ask any further
That's
questions.
It.
Two 2-0 on the 500 hitter. And Cole takes a strike. Yeah, Cole is a guy that, you know, is often sought after because he can play the infield, he can play the outfield. Big league time with Pittsburgh as well. This is going to stay fair. And Michael Toglia applies the tag. Scheffler to second. Leo Rivas will be next. And next to the backstop. On the wild pitch, Scheffler to third.
Wild pitch.
'96 in there, 1 ball, 1 strike. I know you both you guys prided yourselves on being, you know, outstanding teammates. In a spring training game where when they sang the national anthem, there were 67, I'm not exaggerating, there were 67 players lined up for the Rockies. How many times did you high five a guy, you know, when he came in the dugout and you're like, I have no idea who he is, but, you know, nice job. You just got to knock and scored a run. I mean, were there times in March where you literally may not have known guy's name?
Yes.
It would have had to have been early in camp.
Right, where guys are coming up from minor league camp, and they don't even have their name on the back of their jersey.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the case because the guys that are starters, they're not sticking around. Once their day is done, they're leaving.
I'm going to offer it a flip side way.
Okay.
My first few big league camps, I imagine that was Todd and Larry and Matt, right?
Yeah.
You're coming up, and they're like, who is this guy?
And still when they see you, it's
well,
similar. I mean.
Obviously, you know?
So Rivas draws a walk. And that'll bring up Isaiah Gilliam for the first time. I'm sure the coaches, you know, on the big league staff, they'd like some name tags early in camp.
It's necessary.
Yeah, I mean, and we see them all the time. Now you just have a number and no name on the back of your jersey. If you're called up from the minor leagues, especially, you're now in minor league camp, and the next day they tell you to go up to the big leagues to play, you know, and give somebody a break.
Just to explain what we mean, so there's 67 or however many guys the Rockies have in big league camp, but each game they will bring over guys from minor league camp just for the game. They're not actually in major league camp. And that happens every day. And it may be 3 guys, it may be 5 guys. There could be, you just never know. It could be 2 pitchers, 2 position players.
Right.
So having the ability to know all those names, there's just no way.
Wilcox with an 0-2 count on Gilliam. And that's strike 3. Two gone. Now to bring up the catcher, Harry Ford, for the second time. Let's go downstairs, check in with Mark.
Guys had a chance to catch up with Daniel Bard today. It's March 1st. First day that he threw it all. Flat ground, little long toss. Told me he's probably not going to throw off the mound for another 3 weeks. And earlier you guys were talking about injuries and atrophy, and that's what he said. You know, he had the minor knee surgery, but he said his quad in that area is just atrophied, and you were talking about that, Corey, so he's got to build that up. But there's a plan and there's a program, and good news, today he started throwing.
Well, that is good to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Daniel tweaked his knee, had a scope a couple weeks back. Now, relievers can get back out there actually into a big league game much sooner than starters because they have to build up when they're down. But anytime there's any kind of missed time with a pitcher, whatever they say, oh, it's a 3 to 4 week injury or it's a 4 to 6 week injury. I always double it.
Right.
For those guys to actually get back on a big league mound because there's a ton of buildup. So we'll see, when Daniel can come back. Hopefully sooner than later, naturally.
I know for the Mariners, they've had a number of guys that are the relievers, and a little tweak here and there, and they shut him down.
Well, speaking of, and we're going to get to this, Brash.
Matt Brash, yeah, where it came out today that it sounds like they're just going to shut him down for a couple of weeks, slowly get him back to throwing again, and hopefully, if everything goes well, to your point, sometime in April. Whoa, threw that behind him. So hopefully it's good news with Matt, because he'll be critical back into the bullpen.
Well, if you're going to get hurt, you never want to get hurt, but maybe, early in camp. I need not tell you guys how long the season is. That's why we spend so much time. You guys will do it on your broadcast. We'll do it here. Talking about who's going to break camp, who's going to be on that initial 26-man roster. Yet, at the end of the year, you're going to have used 45, 50-plus players.
Yeah. And that's why when you get to the back end of these games out here in spring training, you want to impress. So that way, if something does happen, you want your name called, right? I mean, that's the point of it all. You're not going to make the club. But hopefully at some point during the summer, there's an opportunity for you.
Ford draws a walk, a hit, 2 walks, 2 wild pitches in the inning for Kyle Wilcox. And that'll bring up Caden Polkovich. Rockies 57 players last year. As you see on the graphic, that was a club record. Slowly hit towards second, and Thompson completes the play. A run in the 8th inning for Seattle. We'll go to the bottom half of inning number 8, 9-7 Colorado.
Rockies lead 9-7 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Fans, the MLB Ballpark app will complete your next visit to your favorite ballpark. Buy and manage game tickets, redeem offers, access exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today.
Raul Alcantara is in the ball game, and his 95-mile-an-hour fastball is fouled off by Adel Amador. Amador second at bat. His first at bat was from the left side, fouled out along the third baseline.
We're about 3 minutes from the shadows being a factor.
Well, that can't be comforting. 3 minutes from the shadows, and the last pitch hit the back wall.
Well, his 7 warm-up pitches were very similar to that.
So I have a theory. When the guy that comes in and does the Nick LaRouche,
yeah,
right? Then he paints.
Yeah.
4 to the backstop, and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm not digging in here. And then he goes, inside black, outside black, outside black. See you later.
Yeah. That's what I do with my golf game. I have the word you're not allowed to say, the S word on the driving range. Shanks.
Yeah.
It's a ruse. And then I go out and do it on the golf course.
This is going to get out of play. Crowd of more than 7,000 today at Salt River Fields. Our next broadcast will be, and those are going to be fun. I mean, not that you're not seeing prospects right now, but you're going to see all prospects over the weekend of the 15th and 16th throughout Major League Baseball. So I guess if you're a veteran guy, you're going to have to go to the back fields. We'll be on the air for those. Amador draws a walk. Michael Tolia, he had a double from the left side to drive in a run in the 6th. And now he'll come up from the right side. That's inside, not close. Ball 1.
Yeah, I think for those games on the 16th, they're calling that the MLB Showcase games. And even if they're not in big league camp, it's every organization's top prospects. So that will be a lot of fun.
Well, Mike, a lot over the last couple of years, a lot of the Mariners' top prospects, led of course by Julio Rodriguez, who at one point was the top prospect in all of baseball, they've graduated to the big leagues. They're affecting the big league club that's averaged 89+ wins the last 3 years.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it at the beginning of the game, and Scott's going to lean on his pitching, but if you look at that rotation, Castillo, very well. If you've seen him over the years, he's a top line guy, but then all the other guys are young guys. 2 of them came up last year.
I love Kirby.
Kirby's terrific. Commands the strike zone, has really good stuff. Logan Gilbert also. I'm curious to see what he's going to do. And now Miller and Wu will get opportunities.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, we were touching on this a moment ago. The fact that 26 guys will break camp, 25 when you guys play. Yet you're going to have beyond the 40-man roster that is necessary to get through a season. And from a rotation standpoint, you go, okay, this is our 1 through 5. Well, the reality is, just like that, you're going to need 8, 9, 10. You hope it's not more than that.
No, but you have to be prepared for that.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
It's back-to-back walks. This young man, Raul Alcantara, really struggling to find the zone, which can't be super comfortable right now for Zach Bean stepping up from the left side.
No, but sometimes as a pitcher, you need that same arm and hitter side to kind of make you refocus and lock in.
I don't know if Zach was showing that on his own, but it got the attention of Cole Tucker, who's going to shorten up at third.
Mariners have a right-hander getting loose in their pen after a couple of walks.
That a violation?
Yep. Didn't let him get set in the box.
What do you got? But that 4 violations Jim Wolf's had to call today?
At least.
Well, hitting against a guy that's got not command but control issues.
Right.
On this, you know, is tough enough. Now you're exposing your body trying to bunt the baseball.
And he's throwing 94, 95. Yeah.
No fun.
No fun.
Two balls, two strikes, two on, nobody out. Amador and Tolia both walked. And this is lost in shallow center. The guy who lost it was Leo Rivas. Fortunately, Clase saw it the whole way and he makes the catch. So Sterling Thompson coming up for his second at bat. Former high pick of the Rockies, Thompson out of the University of Florida. And the thing that the Rockies loved about him in college is he could flat out rake. And that has not changed one iota in pro ball. This kid can hit.
We saw it earlier with the double down the right field line.
Oh, 1, and he got jammed a little bit. Get the second out on Tolia. So it'll be first and third, two gone for Hunter Goodman. Goodman struck out swinging his first time. This is playable in foul ground. Now it's in fair territory. And I'm looking at the flags, fellas, and there's not, at least doesn't appear to be a ton of wind.
I mean, I was trying to figure out if the sun is a factor, but it should be more towards left field. So I can't imagine it was.
Yeah, there's no way the sun was a factor on that. It was straight up in the air. It'll go as a hit.
He was running in trying to shade his eyes, and you could see how far away he was.
Yeah, and the best part is the catcher's watching him. So that ball did have to come back late. Something had to.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So Rockies, Hunter Goodman gets an RBI single on a pop-up. Right center field, Clase got a good jump. He sees it and makes a catch to retire Alan Trejo. So the Rockies come up with a gift run, 10-7, as they're looking for 3 more outs.
It's time for
Rockies lead 10-7 with Corey Sullivan and Mike Blowers from the Mariners. I'm Drew Goodman. A reminder, the wire cam, which is awesome. That's the rail cam, though. This is a rail cam. There's the wire cam. They're brought to you by our good friends at Defy. I love the shots that we can bring you throughout the ballgame. Really unique perspective that you're not going to see many places. So, again, big thanks to the folks at Defy. And I have another reminder for you. Mike just flipped his head around. Corey whipped his head around. He's like, and you're looking at you're like.
He seems nervous to me.
Yeah, and it's not like a pleasant look. He's like,
he's leading the witness.
Gavin Hollowell in the ninth. That's some of the news I was going to bring you. But you can stream the Rockies games all season long on Rockies.tv. Just $19.99 a month, or $99.99, or $100 for the entire season. See, nothing for you to be alarmed at.
Yeah. It just seemed like one of those things. It's like when my dad starts a joke. You can always tell.
So you're saying that I throw out a lot of dad jokes?
Yes.
There's probably truth to that. 0-2 on Class A. And Hollowell runs that sidearm fastball outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Popped up, foul ground, and no play for Coco Montez. So both of you guys at different times in your career trained at spring training in Arizona and spring training in Florida.
Yep.
It's a much warmer, sweatier experience in Florida, is it not?
Yeah, and when I was springing in Florida, bus rides, a lot of long bus rides. Everything's fairly close around here.
Sure, it's great.
Yeah.
And the longest trip, for the Rockies, residing in Scottsdale, the longest trip's Goodyear.
Yeah, 45 minutes, maybe an hour with some traffic. I've seen both sides of it. I will stand by ever since the Diamondbacks, the White Sox, and the Rockies moved from Tucson up to here. Arizona's infinitely better spring training.
A ton.
Florida, though, depending on where you are and your status as a veteran, it can be better because you may not ever have to leave where you are.
There's some trips
there's
where you guys stay overnight.
Yeah, there's some 3.5, 4 hour bus rides where you kind of have to stay overnight, depending on where you are. But you always have rain, too.
Always have rain.
In Florida. That's a factor.
Yeah. Cole Young with 1 out.
The Tucson to Surprise trip was no fun.
And you, back then,
Yes.
you had to go on those.
Yes.
And guys like Helton did not.
Ironically, that is the one trip Helton went on.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And why is that?
I don't know.
I'll have to ask
I will have to
about
ask him.
that.
He always volunteered for it.
Hey, listen, even from Scottsdale, surprises. You guys are in Peoria. You're a little closer.
It was always a joke when in Tucson, you'd come to the ballpark and Jamie Quirk, the bench coach at the time, would look at the guys as they walked in and be like, surprise! And that just meant you were going. The problem is the ride back, because it is rush hour traffic, and it is all the way to Tucson.
Yeah, but help me out, because I know we stopped there when we'd go up to Surprise.
In and Out off Ruby Road.
Yeah, well, it was the In and Out, and there was also the ice cream. It's a chain. Why am I doing a blank? There was an ice
Cold
cream
Stone?
place. No, not Cold Stone. Well, there's a place you could stop and get, a shake. There was a DQ.
Okay.
That's foul. Well, ice cream's always going to brighten up the day. You know who's heading back to Tucson tonight? Our very own Javier Prieto.
Yep. Yep. The last time I was in Tucson, he lives in Tucson. I visited Tucson, took my daughter to visit the U of A campus, and Javi was on my flight on the way home, and he said all of 0 words to me.
because he knew he was going to have to spend the whole summer with you. That's a base hit for Cole Young. As Veen fields it on a hop. One out, one on. Hogan Windish coming up for Seattle.
I couldn't remember the name of the place. I thought you were alluding to it. It's in Tucson. It's very specific, and everybody who's ever gone to the University of Arizona tells you to go there. It's called EG's. It's like a shaved ice, slushy kind of place, and it's really good.
So there's several famous eateries, as you know, in Tucson. Daisy Mays, one of the most famous. And in fact, when my kids were young, and this ball's loud to left center field, and it is caught out there by Bouchard. I thought that was a tweener off the bat of Windish. That's the second out. Anyhow, the first time I went there, Helton had given us direction. This is way before, you could just put it on your cell phone, right? And we get past Pima Community College, and it's dark. And there's nothing, and you look like you're driving to oblivion. So I see a driveway up ahead. I'm saying, Helton got me.
Yeah.
And I turn into the driveway on the left, and that was the restaurant.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about. It's like out of nowhere.
Yep.
But we used to when we got in the car when the kids were little, to make that 12-hour trek, the way we kept the kids happy for 12 hours is like we would not go to the hotel. We would go straight to Daisy Mays, and they'd have all the wings they could eat.
Yeah.
Miss some of those Tucson eateries. Maybe we should get Javi, who's one of the best tape operators in the business. So we're going to kiss up a little bit right now.
You are, because you have to.
But it's true. But maybe we can get Javi to go to Daisy Mays on one of these trips and just bring it to us. What do you think?
I'm going to openly state, Javi, you do that. You're already number 2 on my list. You'd be number 1.
This ball's well hit left field and got a chance to get out, and it will. 2-run home run from Matt Scheffler to make it 10-9. By the way, that was the final score yesterday. Rockies 10 and the Cubs 9. 10-9 with 1 out to go. Cole Tucker coming up. Well, good for Matt Scheffler.
Well, yeah, breaking ball right in the middle of the plate.
It's one of those swings that, again, if they think in May they need a right-handed bat, and they think back to that at bat, that you got your name in the hat.
Two and 0. And 2 balls and a strike. This ball's well hit to right, but right at Zach Veen, and that'll end the ball game. The Rockies will prevail 10-9 over Arizona. Quick thought.
A lot of offense today.
Yeah, a lot of offense today, Mike.
I thought the kids played well too. They came and did a lot of damage, so it was good to see that happen, because with every day that goes by, they're going to get fewer opportunities. So good for them.
Yeah, absolutely, Corey.
I thought Max swung the bat great, but the pitching side, Kyle Freeland, perfect for 2 innings, looked phenomenal.
Yeah, I think that'll be the first question that's asked of Buddy Black. Kyle Freeland sitting on 93, literally up about 5 miles an hour from a year ago. He looked good. Well, that'll do it. We hope you enjoyed it. Spring training continues. Another month down here in the Cactus League. Rockies 10, the Mariners 9. For Corey Sullivan, Mike Blowers, Mark Stout, and our entire crew, Drew Goodman saying so long from Scottsdale, Arizona. Be sure to catch our next broadcast on March the 15th when the Rockies will take on the world champion Texas Rangers. Catch the Rockies all season long on Rockies.tv. We thank you for watching Colorado Rockies Spring Training Baseball presented by Major League Baseball. Have a great weekend, everybody.